Mr. Vignani, you're all set. Have a good meeting.
Thank you, Seth. Sorry for the delay. We had some technical issues, but I think they are all resolved. Welcome to the select board's meeting. It is Monday. Nope, it's Tuesday, March 21st, just a little bit after 6:30. And I'd like to call the meeting to order and get an acceptance of the agenda. Second by Mr. Goodrich. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It is unanimous, 5-0. Before we start, I have a statement I'd like to read. The Scituate Select Board is committed to providing an environment of respect during meetings. We ask all members to interact in a polite manner, even when there's disagreement. We value the participation of our community and want all participants, including marginalized and minoritized communities, to feel welcome and respected. We ask our committee members all participate to get to these standards to support and respect our community. That being said, we will go right to walk-ins. Are there any walk-ins here this evening? No walk-ins. All right, we'll move over to the report of the town administrator. Jim?
Good evening. We'll start off with the sad news. I want to congratulate the boys hockey team on a great season. I know that game this weekend didn't go the way we hoped, but I think the players, the coaches, the fans, and the entire town should be proud of the way the team played and the way they carried themselves. So congratulations to them on a good season. Again, so I didn't work out, but still a great season all in all. And thank you to Ed Kelly and his crew for what was a fantastic St. Patrick's Day parade. The crowd was great, the weather was fantastic. So thank Ed and his crew, all the volunteers who made it such a good day. It really is one of those days that makes it a place that people want to come to, living and working. So thanks to Ed and everybody, thanks to the board for walking. We all had a good time. As I said, the weather was pretty nice on Sunday. So water update, reservoirs at +6, that's up from 5 of last week. Pack Factory Pond is also up at +6, up from 3 of last week. Gas daily demand increased to 1,067 million gallons a day, up from 855,000 gallons a day previous week. The water department is doing flushing this week. They started yesterday. They started the man lot storage tank, and they're proceeding from man lot to Countryway to Anvil Road, and then Anvil Road to Man Hill. They'll also be doing some of the side streets off there. So that may cause discolored water, so please just know that we're doing that. I talked to Kevin, who was talking to Mark, the water. When we started flushing a couple of years ago, the water was coming, it was just disgusting. We are seeing discolored water, but nothing on the that we used to see before. So that's a good thing that the flushing is having an impact on the pipes. Also water related, our consultants in the town will be on the Stearns Meadow property on 3A this week, probably on Thursday. They'll be doing some test pits out there and some soil sampling so we can be monitoring and construction work that we need to do. We are sending a notice out to the neighboring residents by email. They'll get that probably either today or tomorrow, so they'll know why we're going to be there. It'll be our small excavator, a couple people, and we'll just take a couple test pits to see what we have for the stormwater and for the septic system. So we need to get some soil samples. Patricia Jacquard has let us know that the Scituate Sister City project is in urgent need of host families for a visit from teachers and high school students from France. 2 teachers and 19 students are expected to be in Scituate April 3rd to the 11th. Unfortunately, some of the host families are now available and new host families are needed. All activities for the week have been planned and chaperones have been selected to take the students around. The committee will make your hosting as easy as possible. If you're interested, please contact Patricia at prjacqurt1410@gmail.com as soon as possible, and they'll make arrangements. The exchange program is a great way for our students to meet people from other countries also. We have a chance to go there. I know the high school was just in Ireland. They took part in the Kilty St. Patrick's Day parade. They had a little float, so it goes back and forth so people can help out. It's a great way. And then our students can go and take part in that, going over to France and Ireland. Dog walkers, Widows Walk is now closed yesterday. Signs are up. Of course, to be prepared for the summer opening. Right now, the opening date is March 31st, with weather dependent, with the golf course back up and running. Not too early to start telling people the annual and special town meetings will be held on Monday, April 10th at the Scituate High School Gymnasium, starting at 7 p.m. 8 articles in the special, 17 articles in the annual, including the capital budget, and all our enterprise budgets. So, as the sign up front says, be there or be unheard. We hope we have a good turnout for town meeting. Always a good turnout. So. 10th, please mark your calendars. The town election is May 20th at Scituate High School also. Nomination paper is available in the town clerk's office. You can call the town clerk 781-545-9743 if you're interested. If you're watching this right now and you decide you want to go over the Good Energy and the Community Choice Aggregation Committee hosting their live presentation via Zoom and Facebook Live currently right now at 6:30. This will be frequently asked questions about the electricity aggregation program, what's going on there. I did get an email from Lisa Bertola today that we had 90% participation in the program. So very little opt-out, that's good, and they're on right now answering any questions that people may have. 2 weeks ago, I announced the Division of Marine Fisheries had opened the clam flats. Now I'm announcing that the Division of Marine Fisheries is closing the clam flats again. Once again, an issue at the Rockland wastewater treatment plant. They have another release up there, so the town clam flats on the north and south river are once again closed. Keep an eye on the website, or the Division of Marine Fisheries website for more information on when they will be reopening. I did get an email from Marshfield today. They're gonna prepare a letter that they want us to sign, basically asking Rockland what's going on with these releases. We've had 2 of them in the past month. The lighthouse project is moving. The board awarded the contract to Campbell Construction at their last meeting. There's a 1-page summary on the town website of exactly what's gonna go on there. The first thing really will be the contract will pick up the current land room. They will take it back to their factory, and then we'll use that as the template for creating a new land room. And then eventually, when all the work's done, they'll come back and it'll be a brand new land room. That is scheduled to be completed sometime this summer. That's what I have today.
Thanks. Any questions for Jim? Karen?
2 quick questions. Is it possible to ask somebody that's doing the flushing to take a quick video of the discharge this year and do a comparison and let folks see that? And it'll allow them to
And
know.
I can take a video this year. I have to go back and see what we have from previous videos.
Oh,
That's
okay.
all. I mean, I know we have some videos. I have some videos and I can find them from back.
I've got smaller videos I could probably pull up.
I think
It'd just
it'll
be
get a lot
tricky finding it in the same area because you get different colors in
Okay,
different
no, I
areas.
wouldn't spend a lot of, if we could do it, it'd be a really cool video for folks to see, and alert. The second question is the, and it's for both of you, I guess, is the Minot Beach, parking lot, is that been rescheduled, or what's the deal with that?
Jeff's working on it, he's working on the plan, he can probably update you.
Yeah, the plans are almost finished. We're just working on, the edge of the parking lot has an issue with, erosion, so we're trying to get a wall in place so that it won't, the curbing on that side won't fall in. So that's what we're just working on, those little unknown thing that happened.
So the original plan was put together, and since then, there was an Eagle Scout project that was out there, and they dug in to the side, and that's kind of been washing out. What we have to do is re-permit that and actually probably build a wall to protect that. Because as the water's flowing in and out, it's starting to erode the parking lot itself.
Yeah.
So that's one of the areas that they're looking at now, along with other things, so just putting that in the way.
Nope,
So-
maybe, Mr. Chair, if once you guys have a better plan and update us on it, that'd be great. Thank you.
The lantern room post completion, so the old one, is there any plan, is that gonna be destroyed, saved, housed somewhere, do we have any, no idea yet what's going
No,
on?
that's, as I've stated before, the condition of that is it's so deteriorated, basically to save it, you have to completely rebuild it. So it'll go to the contractor, they'll take it away, they'll use it as a template, and then they'll keep all the materials that are worth keeping.
Okay, just keep those.
Yeah, it's so deteriorated, you have to replace everything in it.
No? Great. So I think that Jim kind of stole some of our thunder, but I do want to thank everyone that was involved in the parade. It was a beautiful day for the parade, a great turnout, thousands of kids out there, and just great time. And like you said, good showing for the town. Ed Kelly and all of his crew, we want to thank them tremendously for putting it together and having all the other people that were involved with the bands, the local vendors, the community, different associations. It was awesome. And then also, again, reiterate, I was at the hockey game. Too bad for the players. They played their heart out. They really did a great job. Just overtime fluke. But Scituate turns out to these things. We filled the whole half of the stadium, and it was really a whole town support. So I want to thank everyone that went there and supported our local athletes. And again, congratulations to their season and the coaches as well. Great. With all that being said, we will jump over to our first item, which is a presentation, discussion, and vote with Kevin Cafferty and Sean McCarthy on the hazardous waste depot.
So also Claire,
South Shore Recycling Board.
oh, I'm sorry, I was I'm trying to
Hi, Claire.
get this
Hello.
one, sorry.
Thank you for
We all
coming.
do that.
Thank you, yes.
Well, I almost said Sullivan, that wasn't last.
That's
time.
going way back, yeah.
So that's why I
Say
bit my
Patrick's
tongue,
Day.
I bit my tongue. So as you know, Claire just wanted to update the board what's going on with Household Hazardous Waste Day. We have had a lot of problems in the past with the contractors who do that, just completely bailing out. And it's becoming harder and harder to do. So as a group, we've been working with DEP to come up with some different ideas and some different ways going forward on it. And it's one of the things she wanted to present to the board. Now, originally, she thought she had a whole 45 minutes, so we
I know,
trimmed it down to 7 up here. So we'll see how she does. So I will hand it over to you, Claire.
I struggle to be succinct, but I will do my best. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Boudreau, Board of Selectmen, Select Board. As Kevin said, I'm the director of the South Shore Recycling Cooperative. We will be celebrating our 25th anniversary this spring, so we've been around for a while. We consist of 18 member towns, including Scituate, and one of our cornerstone endeavors is our regional reciprocal household hazardous waste program. I see some nodding heads, so I'll be glad to know that you were familiar with it. But as you can see from the schedule this year, we have a very strange schedule. We've got 3 events in the first part of April and then 3 events in the last part of June, and that's it. This is highly unusual. Next fall, we're also going to be having a strange schedule. I've already booked the following spring, and we have a better schedule then, but the problem is that there is more demand than supply for household hazardous waste pop-up events. It's very hard for the vendors these days to staff them. They need CDL drivers, which is, Kevin could tell you, are few and far between. Prices are going up. They're having issues on the farther end of delivering the stuff. So it's a statewide, probably region-wide issue. I do speak with people around the state about this and also in the region. And it's just a situation that's not going to get better anytime soon. So I've frequently, DEP brings up that they like to see regional permanent facilities. And I kept saying, no, don't want to do it, ain't broke, don't fix it. Well, now looks like it's getting a bit creaky, so we are looking into regionalizing, having a permanent regional facility. We have had a volunteer town, the town of Hanover has offered to host it at their transfer station, which solves a whole lot of problems, because they're already permitted, it's already operational, their staff knows how to run these things. So step 1, that's a big step. Step 2 will be to apply for a grant to cover the setup costs for, we'll need some containers, some equipment. We're thinking about, some small sea containers, a trailer for staff so we can run the collections year round, canopy and carts. I haven't gotten into the real nitty-gritty details yet. I'm trying to start a budget. I think it will be in 5 figures. We will be applying for a DEP grant. They opened them up again this year. I've been talking to DEP about this project for a while. And I sense they're enthusiastic about it. So step 3 is to engage our community, because without the support of our member towns, it's not going to work. So how this would work is, instead of hosting pop-up events, for instance, in Scituate, we host one in June every year with Compassit. So instead of that, we would still have a couple of pop-up events. We'd have 2 in Plymouth, we would have one in Hall and Weymouth because they don't want to go so far to Hanover. But the rest of the towns, the 13 towns, so far, most of them are supportive of this concept. And I'm coming here to ask you if the town of Scituate would support this, both with a letter of support to the DEP, so we can, consider it for the grant. And the DEP is always ask for some contribution from the recipients to, contribute towards the cost of the project. I anticipate that DEP would cover the majority of the cost. So I think that we'd be asking each of the towns for somewhere in the range of $1,500 to $3,500 for the startup costs. I haven't talked to you yet about RDP, but that is a potential source.
Potential for that, so I'd like to get into Claire, just explaining to everybody listening what that would entail, because now from what we're saying, everybody says, oh, we gotta drive to Hanover in June. This is more of an open policy that would it be every month, twice a month?
The goal would be to have a collection somewhere in the region every month, year round. Right now, there's nothing in summer and winter, which is really a problem. I get a lot of calls. I'm moving in 3 weeks. What do I do? There are very few options, especially in the winter. So if we can do it at the transfer station with a trailer that's got heat and air conditioning for the staff, we would be able to offer these collections year round. And ideally on somewhat of a regular schedule, like for the third Saturday of the month or something like that.
So we're hoping for an improvement of services for the residents, so you have to drive a little further, but it would be an improvement that you could hopefully go 12 times a year. You wouldn't have to go, now people go, and they might say, oh, where can I go? And you say, you have to go all the way to Plymouth, because that's the only one that's available. But at least it'd be in one location at the Hanover transfer station. It's better because we didn't volunteer to put it for us. No, I don't mean it that way. It brings a lot of traffic and creates a lot of confusion with stickers and everything else on how you get people in and out. But member towns would all be able to go to Hanover to dispose of household hazardous waste.
Right, and Hull and Weymouth would also have opted to continue doing their own events. So the Scituate residents would be able to go to those events as well.
We've read the material, on the flyer that you put out there. It looks like a very nice facility. One quick question, with the residents, was there a fee for it? Is it like a $10 fee for a television, or is that all been?
It wouldn't include televisions, no. You offer that service at your transfer station. Hazardous waste is, well, if you look on the back of the handouts, that's what's acceptable. I don't know if Hanover would be willing to take the other tires and the electronics.
So we would just keep it just for household hazardous waste, keep everything else coming to us, because
And
it'd be a
possibly
different pay
later.
schedule. Different pay schedule.
So would you have to pay to drop off gasoline or acid batteries?
Up to a point, you're allowed so much, and then anything over and above, you would have to pay for, and that's what it is now. It wouldn't change the pricing scale for it.
Right now, Scituate DPW covers the cost.
That's a right, like, the majority of it, you're allowed so much to do that.
Questions?
I just, the issue of checks, I still write checks, but most people I know are Venmo or whatever. Will you start to accept, it might be difficult, other forms of payment, except checks, because I don't
I agree.
have checks anymore.
I agree. We tried PayPal a few years ago and it was very clunky, and you have a long line of people, at some point, we may be able to do a prepay through the registration, because you have to register.
Right.
We use a pretty bare bones system right now with Woo-Food. And I think it's possible to set up a payment portal for that, so it's possible that we could do that. I would prefer that too. I think checks are definitely getting old, and I don't think my kids have a check.
They don't.
So, the cash and check thing right now, I know it's pretty old fashioned. So I think we will have to look at that. in the foreseeable future, whether we go to the regional or not.
So, and as for the latex paint is not considered hazardous?
No, we've been working, do you remember North Situate, the paint
Paint
exchange?
exchange,
We've been working with the paint exchange and the potential that they would set up something there that they'd be able to take some of the paint. So, Claire's been working pretty hard on that, trying to incorporate that, so that when people do come in latex paint, which they do, we might be able to use it for some way form.
And the Hanover events twice a year already, they always take the latex. It's the town pays for the whole thing though, which, I'm always amazed that they're willing to do that, because it does have a cost. So we may have to do a, user fee or pass the paint legislation. There is a bill in the legislature. There's actually 2 stewardship bills, one for paint, one for mattresses, where rather than dealing with it at the end of life, after you've been oversold, a gallon when you only need to pour it at Home Depot, which I've literally seen happen. You pay a small upfront fee, disposal fee, to the paint store, point of purchase. And the paint industry runs a take back program, which can also run through the municipalities, and they would just come and collect it and we don't have to pay anything for it. So that's something, we work on the advocacy side too. So there are a few pending bills that I've been working on for years to try to get them through. We need some municipal support for paint stewardship, mattress stewardship, and then there's packaging and paper. That's the holy grail that we're also working to get the industry to reimburse. Okay,
Yes.
household hazards, yes, I know, bring me in.
And just one final question, the transfer station in Hanover is right on Route 53, is it not?
Yes,
So it's very convenient, actually, I mean, if you're going up to Hanover 53, I mean.
So I'm 139.
139.
oh, I'm sorry, yes, it's
It's
one,
right off,
it's
right,
139,
It's
it's near
only a
the
quarter mile
split.
off 53, but it's.
So go to Chick-fil-A and. Thank you, appreciate it.
You're welcome. And we also have, I just wanted to share these,
Let's see if there's any other questions.
okay.
Did you have any questions,
I
Karen?
don't have any questions, I just want to thank you so much for keeping at this for 25 years, because the work is so important. I think having a regional, I was a little worried that if we moved it to Hanover, folks would just start checking the trash. But I think after a little education, knowing you can go every month and not be like, oh, I don't know what to do with this, I think it's a really good idea, and much more cost effective.
It should be more cost effective, yes, because you'll be aggregating the material and it should be a more efficient system.
Thank you, and thank you, as well for everything. Just a couple of clarifying questions so I understand it completely. So the rates that we charge today would remain the same. You collect the fees when they enter the facility in Hanover, correct?
No, what we actually do, and every town's different. So if somebody says we're coming in with a certain
Yeah.
section, we usually sign off on it and give them, if they're going to a different town,
So the
We-
process is gonna be, we have to go,
we give them a sheet, but they would collect the money at that point there in Hanover.
wait, I don't
Yeah, but
understand what
then-
you just said.
Okay, we don't need a visitor form from
You
Scituate
won't, and that's
anymore.
what I thought of after I said it. We won't need-
Yes, so people just, they register for a time slot, which speeds things up quite a bit, it's been wonderful. Thank you, COVID, for something at least. And I keep track, or our staff, we have staff that check cards in, and they keep track of who brings what from where, and the towns each get billed for the amount that their residents.
Okay, so they register via this QR code or on your website. And then are, all of these towns combining with the exception of Weymouth and Hull?
Yes,
Okay.
well, no, except for the southern tier, we have, Plymouth, Middleborough, and Kingston are too far.
That's
So
still
they're
going
gonna-
to use that service.
They will be able to come if they have to, yes, absolutely. So Plymouth will continue to host its 2 events a year with Kingston and Middleborough. And Hanover residents can go to that, Scituate residents could go to that as well. So I think I said 9 or 10 collections on that sheet, but now that we know that Weymouth and Hull want to keep their own events, it'll probably be more like 7, but plus those 2 in Hull and Weymouth.
So, I just, last one, I'm gonna kill me. Where do textiles go now?
Actually,
You have a lot of bins, right?
we do, I believe we have 3 bins right now.
So it just all has to be separated and it goes to the transfer station?
Yes, they go to the we could leave it at that, and give
Or the
it to
schools, or the schools.
other schools. And then we have 4 kids up there also.
Okay. Thank you.
Just feedback, absolutely support this, brilliant to have a regular set schedule, going to Hanover is absolutely no problem, doing it at the garage, knowing there's once a month versus, wait, when is it? And do the jujitsu, okay, when is it? Yes, very, I'm all on board. We're cut the check.
Great, thank you for coming in, thank you for your energy in this, I agree, I've asked you for 15 years, when's the next thing come around, so it'd be great to know what the schedule is, and is it gonna be like the first Saturday of every month, is that what it'll
So
kind of
that's what, that's a detail that'll come later, but it will
be? Some sort of regular.
be something of a regular schedule, maybe, a couple might be on a Wednesday night or something, because there are people that can't do Saturdays. I don't get many complaints about that surprisingly, so. But if it does come up, we would have the flexibility but we would definitely try to keep it to a regular schedule so that there's no head scratching.
Great, so I think it's safe to say that we can write a letter of support, nine heads, and then, when the financial thing comes up, we'll talk to Kevin and Jim about that.
Terrific.
So, Ray, can you draft something? Sure. Thank you very much. Claire, thank you for
I'll
coming
be
in.
drafting a letter of support, if you want, just so everyone can use the same template, if that would be easier.
That'd be great.
And I just wanna, I'm not gonna talk about this, it speaks for itself, fire
You
collections,
can talk about the 20th,
okay.
who you invited and everything else.
Okay, well, we're planning our 25th anniversary celebration now too. It looks like it's going to be in Rockland at the Doubletree. We have invited the Lieutenant Governor Driscoll and our new DP Commissioner, Bonnie Heichel. And we will be inviting town officials and legislators to attend and help us celebrate.
Something to say.
Thank you for all the great work you do.
And thanks to Kevin for being our chairman for a long time too. We need, leadership is so important. So I appreciate participation that Scituate brings to our activities in our board.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I hope people put stuff in the right place, as Karen said, instead of going in the blue bag. Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
The next presentation,
This first,
The schedule was just to be last night.
I'm just gonna call all these.
That was for you.
Looks like notes.
All right, so
Like notes.
it's old papers that I don't need, so rather than recycling them, I use the other side.
You are the
I am
real
a
deal.
real recycler here. Waste reduction is the thing. So is this an extra?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Thanks, Cliff.
so now Eversource is here to go over some improvements to the lines that they want to do?
Yes.
Or are you just doing that?
Eversource is here also, Brian Gillis is here, he's got a little, plan of what was gonna be done, and I submitted that to the selectmen, thank you, Cliff. And I'll give a brief of what we're doing, and, Brian's staff is here also, I'll have him, introduce him after. They're gonna do Jericho Road, start in April and May. They'll go in there, put new gas line in, new gas services. Sometime later in the year, we're gonna put new water line on Jericho Road also. So we're combining the two. Gas company will come in first. Part of our request for funds, we're looking to see if we do, how much water money we would have, but it'd probably be in the latter part of the year, summer season, we'd be putting the water line in. Right now, we're still having large back orders of pipe, and the cost is still elevated, but while the road was being ripped up, we wanted to do both at the same time, so we're shoveling some stuff around. The other area that they're gonna do is and vinyl, and,
Kevin, you're saying this whole presentation.
I'm sorry.
Let him
Well,
do it.
what I wanted to explain is, one of the requirements that we have is, as a DPW, that we're requiring the gas company to do, is on end vinyl 123 in Lanton Lane, because they're doing the main and the services, we're gonna require a full depth overlay pavement. So they're gonna have to repave the entire road, to do that, as well as seal and improve it. The Jericho Road, because we're gonna be coming up and doing it later with a water line, we're gonna waive that problem, so that they won't have to do that, but in the same turn, it kind of works both ways, because we were looking at possibly paving and vinyl road and doing new sidewalks, so now we're shuffling things around, and a lot of our stuff is in the book, so. On that note, I'm gonna hand it over to Brian to introduce everybody, and tell the whole gas story.
Yep, good evening, my name's Brian Willis from Eversource, Manager of Construction. I'm here tonight with Brian Earl from Community Relations Group. He's Rob Rouse, who works with Scituate Construction, so. Kevin and his group have met with us over the past month or so twice. You know, we've discussed our projects and asked us to come tonight to present in front of you guys, so thank you for having us. It's a unique year here in Scituate. We got some large projects, so 4 projects planned within the town. And they are large scope, you know, a lot larger than we've done over the past few years here. So we're gonna have 3 to 4 contractor crews working in the town pretty much all season. Some of the projects are smaller, the bulk of them will go through the whole season. So I don't know if we'll make a mid-March start, we're pretty much past that time, but based on how tonight goes, we'll be looking to start off with Jericho Road. And then I'll get into schedule in the next slide, but fact is why we're doing these projects is a variety of things. So poor pipe condition, leak prone pipe, bare steel, no cathodic protection. So we're looking to replace that infrastructure. Part of some of these jobs is to actually not only replace the aging infrastructure, but also increase the size of the pipe. So over the years, there's been a lot of increase in demand for the natural gas system over here on the our eastern portion along the ocean, Duxbury, Marshfield, Scituate on our system. And our pressures on a design day actually have been decreasing. So we've been doing infrastructure replacement projects in a variety of towns over the years to actually bring the pressures back up. So 4 projects here. Some of the other next slides will actually have maps of them, but the 4 of them are Cornet Stenson Road. That's 3,500 feet of 12-inch coated steel will be put in the ground, so that will be cathodically protected. And Vinyl Road, that's the larger of the projects, so just about 7,500 feet of 8-inch plastic is going to be going in there. Jericho Road, that is going to be 6-inch plastic main, about 1,200 feet. So Jericho Road's been on our list for years to replace. Back around 2018, we're actually going to come in town and replace that gas main. At the time, we were Columbia Gas. We had the incident up in Lawrence. We had to respond there, and we were under some tight moratoriums with the state for a couple of years. So we're returning to take care of that pipe. A lot of leak history on that section of road. And the last one's Lanton Lane. It's a small 400-foot job, so we'll run a new 2-inch plastic main up there to replace that street. So we get into, just some high-level aerial photos of the projects here. The one on the left in the blue is the Jericho Road. We'll be going from Beaver Dam to Hadley. That's 1,200 feet. The one on the right in the green is that's Lanton Lane. That's the 400-foot job, small. And then we get into the larger projects going at Stenson. That's the purple line that you see there. We're actually trimming the tail end of that off, so we're not going to be going into the rotary, as that picture indicates. And then we end with the Vinyl Road project. So that would be the one in the purple. Ignore the line in the red. We're not proposing to do anything on that section this year, but we are proposing to come in next year and do some more.
Can you go back to the picture with the rotary? Where are you stopping? Because that was a mess a couple of years ago.
Yep. We'll stop just Just short, that street that comes in here, right around there.
So you'll come to the rotary, you'll stop at that.
We'll stop shy of the rotaries. When they did that rotary over, we replaced all the gas main in that, and we actually brought it out of the rotary, so we'll tie it in right where it transitions from plastic to steel.
Yeah, I thought you did that, Kevin, didn't you?
We did the same with the water line, we shot across the state out of it.
So those are the scopes of our projects. For contractors, we'll have Feeney Brothers here and RJ Dever doing the projects.
So you mentioned the one thing that probably bumps in a lot of people's minds is the mishap up in Lawrence.
Yep.
How do we ensure our citizens that during all this construction, we don't?
Well, Lawrence was unique. The system up there was low pressure that happened, running on each of the water columns. So each individual house service does not have a regulator in that scenario. There's no low pressure gas in Scituate. So every house there has a regulator on the gas service. So that was an overpressurization. If it happened here, there was a regulator at each house. That regulator would expel the gas through the regulator vent.
Great. Thank you for that explanation. Questions from the board? Karen?
Sure, we all have a lot of similar questions. I'll start backwards. So you've got local contractors, what's your plan for supervising their work? What does Eversource do?
So we have an on-site inspector employed by Eversource that oversees a third-party contractor.
All the time, or?
He's overseeing multiple crews, could be upwards of 3 crews max, but ideally 2 crews. So we'll probably keep him the same guy in town, so it's bouncing between the jobs, has relationships with the DPW over the course of the jobs. We also have a supervisor, Rob, who's gonna be working with me, and he's gonna be overseeing, the bulk of the projects, the inspector, and ultimately myself as the.
And what, in your plans, what do you guys, we talk a lot about making sure folks know what's happening.
Yep.
Do you have a communications outreach program in advance of this work?
So we do a customer mailing, before we start these jobs, we'll do a mass mailing to the residents along the route. So we'll get a letter in the mail with a summary of what we're doing, replacing some infrastructure and some contact.
Just your users or everyone that's abutting?
I will confirm there's 2 ways to send the list. You can send the users and non-users along the route. So I'll make sure we get the non-users also.
We've also requested message boards.
The silent electronic.
Yep.
Excuse me, Ms. Canfield, if I could just add to, in community relations, I can serve as the town point of contact as well as any inquiries that come in from residents. I'll provide my contact information if anybody has questions throughout the duration of the projects. I'm happy to be there to answer them in my role.
This board prefers to do advanced notifications.
Absolutely.
So that
This is just an
you don't get
addition.
questions if you don't.
Sure, this is just an addition if questions do come up.
Okay, good, we will send them to you. And then the 2 obvious questions are, you're gonna be on one of the busiest roads in the summer in Jericho Road, and you're gonna be on Ann Vinyl when the school's open. What's the traffic pattern and access restrictions or adaptations that are gonna be in place for Hathaway School and for folks going from the Lighthouse and the Harbor?
Yeah, so ultimately Jericho Road, we'd like to get in there first, next week, if that works with Kevin. We're ready to roll, so we can get out of there before, the summer comes, get everyone walking around, get it done as quick as possible.
And then Hathaway or Ann Vinyl, you've got a completion in November, which is after the school.
Correct, so what we're probably gonna end up doing there is, because it's so big, is put 2 crews there to increase the, the duration of the project, actually decrease it, shorten that window. But as far as traffic, ideally we'd be looking to close 1 lane, alternate traffic. There may be days where we're doing a road crossing, and have to do shut a road down, do a small detour, put some plates down, so the cars can get over the trenches.
Okay. Good luck with that.
We'll also have to meet with them, if they're gonna run into school time on Ann Vinyl, we'll have to talk about the school buses. maybe adjust the starting time or something like that, just make sure the buses can get in and out, no problem. We'll cross that bridge before we get to it.
Go back to Karen's question about Jericho to start, because it's, how long is that gonna take? Is that a couple week project or is that a? What's it say, how long?
Says May 12th.
Till May 12th.
Yeah, these are some conservative dates here. Might be able to trim a week off that,
Do it right, do it fast.
maybe some weather in there, weather days.
Well, even busier is Cornet Stetson.
Yep.
That's like probably the worst of all, because to get to the other ones, you gotta go way into Scituate. Route 123 is the gateway, so, and I guarantee you, you'll be sending people down Neil Gate, I'm off that street, and I know it's gonna be crazy. So it's a couple of weeks, you say, because I will say, having gone to.
One instance, gonna be a lot longer.
Okay, that's 3 months, that's the
Yep.
3 months, that's significant.
It is.
Do you shut the road down or do you still travel on the road?
So that one, we gotta look exactly where the main replacements, where the main's gonna sit. It's large pipe, so we lose some flexibility there with how we're loading the machine and put the pipe in the trench. It's either full road closure or, detour one lane. Keep one lane going, detour the other one coming up. If the volume's.
We'll work with the police to make that decision, just in our experience. I already told them they're probably gonna wind up shutting the whole road down just because it becomes too dangerous. And the speed of
Well,
the
it's a
traffic,
dangerous part of
the
that
speed of
road.
the traffic will affect the whole operation.
So I would like to ask that the neighbors on Neil Gate and the streets off of that be notified as well, because they're not gonna benefit from this. They're just gonna have to take the inconvenience of it. And traffic will back up down Neil Gate because to get onto 3A, to get into Scituate, the left-hand turn there is pretty tough. And then the only other question I had is, just on a global level, there's been a lot of media lately about the safety of natural gas in people's homes. And it started out as being a concern about stoves and ovens. It seems to have spread to gas fireplaces and just generally gas heat. So, I'd appreciate whatever you can do. I assume the town is not paying for this in any way. We're not spending taxpayer money, this is strictly a.
We, believe it or not, we actually pay taxes every foot of gas main that's in town. We pay taxes on, so that brand new main that goes in, we're paying a premium as opposed to the old pipe that's depreciated.
So you can't do this without our okay. So I just want the citizens to know that we're aware that it's an issue. So whatever you can do in terms of communications, I certainly think that the town would appreciate it.
Or did you want to talk about this road I was gonna mention more on this?
You go ahead, I just.
So Kevin, this is one of the main arteries into town. If we can keep one of those lanes open, otherwise it's gonna be a mess because you have to go down the middle. You can't go back the other way because you're blocked off at the other end.
No, I agree 100%, it just depends on where the pipe's gonna fall and how it's gonna go through in the ultimate.
So do you guys have any control over where the pipe is gonna fall to keep one of those lanes open?
It also
Especially for
depends.
3 months.
That's a lot of time.
Yeah, we gotta look at the utilities that are currently underground, so our existing gas main, the new water main that was recently installed. Those are gonna really dictate where we end up, where there's real estate left for us to go.
Was there a new water main that went down there?
That's why the road was shut before I redid the water line down
But not all the way down to Treeberry Farm, it
there.
didn't
Yeah,
just
we
do
went
it
all the way to Noah line, all the way down to, all the way down the road.
It did.
Like 6-7 years ago.
Yep.
Okay, so that's critical, because they're gonna have to.
It's gonna be the last time we ever shut that road down again in my lifetime.
Because if you go to the, if you try and go to the left and go through Walnut Tree, you just end up on Old Oak and Bucket, get stuck on the other.
Yeah, they can't go across street, that's just a non-stop.
Well. All right, let's all protect our own little areas.
I go by my.
Right, if anything you can do to keep one of, at least the flow of traffic going one way there, I think is gonna be critical.
It's gonna depend on the crew, and I've already been all over Ryan, we want their AA crews here. We don't want the C crew, we want the AA crew, especially on.
Yeah, I have another question, like, if you don't mind. How many customers do you have? That's a weird stretch from Cornet Stetson. There's the Emily School,
But that's the main feed to Scituate.
and you can't go down, weren't you guys on 3A at one point?
We were, yeah.
So
Then the
you've got,
winter.
you've got the gas line at the Rotary, and I assume you go down 3A.
Correct.
So I guess my question is, why would you wanna disrupt all of the Cornet Stetson
Yep.
from the town line all the way down if you already have a way to go down 3A?
Yeah, so the 3A, that feed's coming up through Marshfield, you know, and just all the dynamics of the system, everything looping together, it's just not enough capacity. So,
But you don't have many customers on Cornet Stetson.
nope, but everything past it, you know, everything past Cornet Stetson, volume of gas here is openly served.
And you're not servicing Watch Hill, you're not servicing Northey Farm Road, you're not servicing Millgate.
The rest is
I'm just
It's,
saying, it's, that's a lot of sacrifice for that, you know, neighborhood for what that wouldn't seem to be a lot of customers, so.
And you've got 2 greenhouses there also.
Right, right. Shut down.
Laptop died.
so that's gonna be nice. Especially in the summer.
So we've actually had somewhat of a moratorium for new customers in Scituate. We're slowly releasing that now, so if you put a new home in or you're adding load to your home or business, for the past year and a half, we've been holding those customers, just due to the capacity issue.
Well, that raises another question. So wherever you're doing these projects, are you allowing people who are not hooked up now to hook up? So
would ultimately
they're
want to-
gonna get all the hassle and not be able to say, gee, I don't know what people are gonna wanna do based on recent, you know, stories about it, but you can't bypass the houses and not let them hook up if they want to.
If they want it, our goal is to install it while we're there, not leave and have to come back. So we expedite those people that go through sales to acquire the gas connections while we're there.
Those are included in the mailings, right, Brian? Like we're doing it, if you wanna hook up contacts.
Correct, yeah, there's some paragraph in there. Info.
Yeah, I'll just say, I mean, broadly, don't wanna sound like, I'm repeating everyone, but I'm pretty comfortable with the Jericho Road, considering the timeline of it, the 5 weeks. We're not in the, again, you wouldn't be doing these, if you didn't have to be doing them.
Well, remember, I'll be following up with the water line, something like that.
And vinyl, I think we could, I guess, problematic, but again, being able to get that paved, I know those sidewalks are going great, we're all not fabulous.
The curb's sitting there waiting to go.
Lantern Lane, smaller project, and again, I just jump back on the communication and for the gentleman back, again, there's no local paper here, like it becomes so much more difficult to get information out of a small community that, and then we'll get yelled at and blamed if there's the back traffic, which is getting that information out in every way that you can, because the lack of local news is so critical. Just, and I think it's gonna make your lives easier and our lives easier to explain it also.
Yeah, we could even work on, if the town has social media messaging, if they wanna utilize that as well. We can help craft messaging on day work and stuff that will help increase messaging once the work is actually going on with residents.
Yes.
And that's to follow up on the door hangers when we already go out there.
You send it to us, we'll put it on our feed, and send it to us, we'll email it down.
The collaboration on this is gonna be critical. You know, we can do whatever we can.
What we typically do is we'll set up a weekly meeting with them on Fridays probably. And I'm also gonna have Jess here, we'll be watching them on a daily basis, going by and checking out the different sites. To make sure that they're meeting the town requirements also. Because our goal is we don't want any dirt roads, everything's paved that day. If they open the trench up, get backfilled and paved, minimize use of plates on the road as well as try to balance it the best we can. So at night, there's minimal effect to residents.
Hi, one thing, you had mentioned when you were reviewing the Ann Vinyl schedule with everyone that you could possibly put an additional crew there to speed up. Any way you could do that, or is that, I just heard the possibility, so,
No, you'll see two crews there,
okay.
whether it's from the exact start date or is it halfway through, once another job finishes, we move on.
Yeah, I can see schedule.
Or else we're gonna be running
Probably
too late for the season.
Okay. Everything else been asked, and answered.
I guess I wanna go back to Cornet Stetson, so how do you expedite that? How do you, like, do you do it in sections, like the whole road is gonna be closed, is it for the whole 3 months, or are you gonna do like 100 feet section, have traffic stop for that kind of blockage, go around it? Or do you shut the whole road down for 3 months?
Depending on where the main goes, it could be shut down for 3 months, as we're working during the hours. Or maybe, we might have to close it as we're dropping the pipe in, doing some backfilling, and then we can open up the one lane to get going through.
So, you bring up a good point, so you're gonna work from whatever, 9 to 5, 8 to something. And
7.
And
Yep, 7 to 4.
7 to 4, and then there'll be plates over, and it'll be opened up after that.
So we backfill and pave every day. Steel jobs larger sometimes, we'll plate at the end of the main. There'll be one plate there, to save you time the next morning, you pull the plate, drop in, you roll the pipe in, and then you go.
So the weekends and on,
Weekends, there's no plates.
Weekends what?
No plates left.
no, but the road is open, I don't care if it's.
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah.
The road will be open at night, and the
Oh,
road
yeah.
will be open on the weekends.
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, just one last thing, to Maura's point, can you put 3 crews on this and get it done quicker?
Well, the challenge is, we've got 3 very large seasonal businesses there.
Yep.
And you are in the height of their season. You've got Blue Place, you've got Icy Farms. Oh, shit. Maybe Tree Garden.
You're ready to get to the other side,
You got a school.
But still, those are,
and then you have
it's their peak time.
the English school.
We'll work with them, if, sometimes we have specific signage made up just for businesses, so as people pull up to the work zone, the specific business is open during construction.
Well, that at a minimum would be helpful.
I still
I
don't
guess I'm not
understand.
hearing what I wanna hear. I think we're gonna leave this meeting, and that street's gonna be closed for 3 months.
We'll do our best to keep it open, but I don't
I
wanna
hear-
promise
I hear
that
you.
it's gonna be open and then you drive by a month from now and it's.
Right, so the population of this town doubles in the summer when you're doing this. And this is one of the main arteries to the town. Maybe the biggest,
Depending on where you're coming from,
Yeah.
right? But
well,
it's
anyway.
big.
So you're shutting off a major thoroughfare to the town at the worst time.
Can you do it in the fall?
You can do it all winter if you'd like. We work year round on the.
What do we care when they do
I
it?
can't plow. Is the problem.
You know, problems,
It's
you know,
closed.
No,
Well, you
Well,
gotta get
it opens
safety
again.
in there. You got fire trucks and.
you can't get fire trucks in there when these, in the summer.
But what about moving to the fall? Not really gonna allow us.
Well, I have a more overall question. If this is more to benefit, I'm sorry, Eversource, then I'm still asking the question, why aren't you using 3A? Why do you have to go up Cornet's list? They don't have to replace it.
It's just the dynamics of the system. The feed goes all the way back through Norwell, for other towns, eventually back to our gate station in Brockton. So, it's similar to like.
To Karen's point, why don't you go down Neilgate and hit your other main one? It'd be much
That'd be
shorter.
easier.
Disrupt less.
We're just.
Yeah, I don't have the,
I,
without looking at the
I know
system.
you hear us, but you're like, I gotta do my job, and we're like, you're screwing up our town. So we're trying to see what other alternatives there are, how you can impact the workflow to make it go quicker or not make it such an inconvenience for all the citizens. Is there anything you could think you could?
Maybe we can look at it in a second crew then. that would help speed it up.
All right, well,
Well, no, I mean, so if we're looking at this, if Hornet is 3 months, right?
Yeah.
So you could, if you start April, May, June.
Yeah.
Be done by June. Which would push back and you're starting in vinyl when the schools are in session. I mean, I guess it's up to the board, you know, what the timing is, if you want to get it done before July, or you'd rather wait for fall. I'm with you, have whatever headache in July and August that would be for that stretch.
well, he also
And then-
just said add a second crew, does that make it a month and a half as opposed to 3 months? If you add 2 crews, does that cut the time in half?
May not be exactly half, but 40%, I'd say.
I like that.
So,
Problem is, we gotta find another second qualified crew to handle steel. It's not your average plastic job, which any crew can do. I'm bringing in a extremely well qualified crew for this. It's currently working in Brockton.
Or move it to the fall.
Well, if you pushed it out, could you,
So if we push it out to fall, there's no doubt it's gonna extend into January.
how's that?
You know, say September, November. September, October, November, you know, it's probably gonna be right into December timeframe, holidays, get some weather in there, we could be looking at. So that's a decision on Kevin. We do work year round in a lot of other municipalities.
Well, if you do get 2 crews, then we cut it by 40%, so it's only under 2 months. And it's September, October.
So that second crew is potentially my issue.
so you're mobilized for the dates on here. So all of these hypotheticals, you have to see what your crew schedules and all of that would look like. So, and one other question about just logistics. If say you guys go back and go, oh yeah, we could actually go down Neilgate and move into the main that way, does that require I mean, I don't know your permitting system process or not. Does that mean a whole different set of review? Or
So
uh,
we'd
how does that-
work with them if it's just on our end. So
Probably
we'd have
the
to-
pipe, right? It's a longer run down the gate.
And then probably have to re-engineer it.
Much shorter down Millgate. Because they just replaced the whole one on 3A, you don't have to go all the way.
From Old Oak and Bucket to Cross Street, I think it's a lot shorter than from all the way down Neilgate from 123 to 3A. I think that's a much longer run.
Having done it for 25 years, whichever way you go, it's the same distance on Neilgate. It's bizarre, but it's true from where we live. So
So you don't
it's-
have to go 3A, all you have to do is get down Millgate.
Right, that's what I'm saying, and Neilgate is, I would think, an easier job engineering wise.
But why don't they're gonna start on Jericho Road as quickly as they can. So why don't we get them kicking on that, have them go back and look at a couple of the other options that we brought up. And then Kevin can come back and tell us what they decided how they're gonna go forward. So, like,
Yeah, I mean, I think we all agree Jericho's probably the first one that should be done.
I have one question. So it's for Kevin, so the water main is what are the endpoints of that? Of the water main work?
So the water main would start up at the lights, and go all the way down close to Cedar Point,
Okay, so much farther than this?
much further than that, yes.
Are you ready to do it if they start next week? So what are you gonna do to the road?
It might go on to next season. What we're gonna have then is do a permanent patch as well as a permanent patch for the water contractor. The road's gonna be a little beat up and then we'll probably grind it and overlay it, probably gonna be next spring.
Is this project just not at the right time for
We
Jericho?
weren't expecting it,
Yeah.
that's why we're shuffling around and we were asking for another 2.2, I think, in water work at this next town meeting, so that we can pay for the Jericho Road. So we're juggling it just so that we pay it once as we're doing.
normally we let those trenches sit for a while anyway, so they settle and then come in.
But then you gotta
Yeah,
dig
but
it
then
up.
you're digging up again.
We won't be digging up the same thing the gas company dug up in 2 different spaces.
That's the same road.
And they're not repaving the entire road, they're just paving their trench. So they'll pave their trench once when they're done at the end of the day, and then they will come back, they'll grind out their trench and then pave it, so it's not like this, and it's a nice even trench. And they'll also do the sides, and you'll get the ba-dum effect when you're driving down the road. Then we'll come back and put in the water line, when the money's allocated, we can start that up, and we'll go out and do the water line, do the same thing, grind, pave, overlay, and then probably that following spring, come back, grind the whole street and do the whole street over.
So I assume you can't switch a current project that you have the money for and do this one?
Well, I could, but that, a lot of that money was being tied up because while we're running the new line for the treatment plant, we're replacing the transite line on 3A at the same time, so we put our money towards that. And it wouldn't be a good idea, I don't think, for us to do Jericho instead of that, because while we have the road dug up, that's kind of critical to do that water work, and that's already gone out to bid.
Alright, so what does the board want, do you wanna just approve the Jericho one?
So this was just informative, because we do the permits for them, but I wanted to bring it to the board's attention.
So we're not gonna give them a permit for Cornet Stinson until they come back to us with some more details?
I will hold off on that permit.
We're gonna have an answer along.
Okay.
Got a whole group that runs those analysis. I think that they already looked at it, I just don't have.
Yeah, exactly, and see if there's another crew, if we can cut it in half, that would, it's just,
So to finish on Cortland, on Neilgate, that means that Neilgate residences, which I'm not one of, so it's got nothing to do with me, they would be able to hook up to gas if they so desire.
If the new line was down.
Because I don't see how you tell the neighborhood, we're gonna dig up your entire street, but sorry, you can't.
Oh, yeah, anyone, anywhere we're working these jobs, anyone can
they
connect.
want.
I'm just
Yeah.
making sure.
Everybody, even if
Yeah.
it doesn't go down the neighborhood.
Because it just sounds to me as though Hornet Stetson is more to the benefit of Eversource versus. So if we could sweeten the pot, if you will, for the people on Neilgate, of which there are quite a few, new homes on that street. I think they would feel better about the project, instead of us just saying, oh, sorry, we're just gonna,
Yeah, we just gotta look at the dynamics of this,
Alright.
so kind of like a sewer system or a drainage system, you know, you got
we
a
don't
main
have that
pipeline
either, we're not
somewhere.
going to, so.
Alright, so we're good on all of them but Cornet, and you'll get back to us on that. Awesome.
Thank you,
guys for
Tom.
coming in.
Thank you.
If I could, I'm just gonna drop cards off up here.
Please,
Yeah, make sure you give one of them.
I don't worry, Tom, pass those around.
Thank you.
we should not over communications. You'll just kind of like golf. It'll be all golfing. You're like, oh,
Sit in
Tony.
traffic and get home. Alright,
Go across the river.
alright, next we have a review, a discussion, and vote for outdoor seating extension and patio service. So, what was it, 2 years ago, Governor Baker allowed people to go outside during COVID, maybe 3 years ago. We opened it up to Front Street and actually everywhere. And a couple of establishments took advantage of it. And now we have before us the ability to allow those people to extend that period of using space outside to serve.
Two would be actually on town property, Hibernian, which is on the sidewalk in the gallery, which the board has allowed in the parking spaces. You have one resident who's objected to that. The other two, three would be on their property, but they would still be outside, you still have to bring those as licensed establishments.
So the list of them is in the backup: Hibernian Tavern, the Galley, the River Club, the Mill Wharf, Oro, and Parker Tavern, and Widows. Which,
So Widows
Yeah,
Walker,
I'm sorry.
Widows Walker is doing right now, they don't have, they will be coming back for outside seating, they're looking to do a, almost like a,
a tent out.
tented outside seating area, but they'll have to come back to that. That'll be a permanent change to their license, they did have outside seating when the pandemic started, before we finished the clubhouse.
We've got Salt Society, The Voyage, Untold, TKO Memories, all that other stuff. you're asking us if we wanna just broadband give all of them approval?
You do one at a time, but I want to bring the board's attention, we did have a letter from a woman that didn't like the fact that we took up the parking spaces in front of the gallery, I think she's here tonight. So, we put it on the board, the height of her name is on the sidewalk. You said, Bob Vogel down there, he goes down to make sure he measures to ensure that there's sufficient width for handicap accessibility going by there. It also does the same down at Salt Society.
I mean, you don't need to vote on this, you've already given Jim the authority to approve or not on all of these things.
Or marking whether you approve.
Yes.
It says vote, yeah.
That's why I'm here.
I just put it there in case you wanted to vote.
So I would like to speak about the gallery, because I do agree with the resident. I'm down there 4 or 5 times during the week in the morning. And to take 3 parking spots away all summer long, away from businesses down there, and none of the other establishments do that. And that was a courtesy that we extended to the galley during COVID. This restaurant wasn't designed that way, nor was its original business plan to occupy a road and parking spaces that are very critical for all the businesses down there. Got a new bakery down there, we've got gyms, we've got new retail, and I personally, I love the restaurant, he's got new stuff going on, new menu. I don't know what his new decor is going to look like, I don't think any of us do. But I don't think that we should approve taking up parking spaces. I don't know if he can figure out how to do maybe a small little strip on the sidewalk, I don't think it's wide enough personally, but, I
It's not
just,
wide enough, but
it's just not the same situation as everybody else, and it's unfortunate, but that's the property that he's in, and he just doesn't have that flexibility like some of the other businesses do in the sidewalks. So that's kind of where I stand on that, because I hear it every morning, people screaming that 3 parking spaces is a lot. It's a lot of space down there, especially the way those spaces are striped. They're all striped for SUVs, they're huge. They're the biggest parking spaces in Scituate.
No, that's not in front of town hall.
Can I just?
No, ma'am, we're gonna talk and then I'll open up to you and then you can talk after.
Sure.
So that's where I fall on that, just because I hear it all the time as well.
And just more, every year I do meet with the businesses. Really the comment that I get is from the gym, they just wanna make sure it doesn't extend. So people are sitting in front of the gym, looking into the gym, that was their comment the last 2 years, about to see.
Yeah, and I can tell you that all the gym,
Patrons might
customers
have
and
different.
patrons, yeah. And the bakery patrons, there's no parking there, guys. There's not.
Well,
There's parking, but 3 spaces are consistently tied up from May 30th until November 1st. It's a long time, it's our busiest time.
yes. But there are 250 spaces right on the other side of CDS.
Well, not for all, I mean, you can go through A, B, C, or D, classification.
One way
figure it
this
out.
way.
And you've got the Mill Wharf, who is privately held now, who, is very strict on their parking as well, so it's tough down there in summer.
3
Yeah.
spaces out of 300.
Hey, that's where I stand on that budget, so
No,
if
just
I
don't-
lose 41,
I'm just
that's
stating the
where
fact.
it goes,
I'm
but.
just saying, there's a lot of parking in there, but not right in front of the retail establishment.
I have an observation that I think backs up what Maura's saying. Unless he has completely changed the front of his restaurant, he's open. So he's like outdoor dining anyway in the summer and when it's nice out. So I don't feel as though it's necessary for us to take space, parking spaces away, so he can put tables on basically in parking spaces. So that's where I come down.
Karen?
I'm narrating,
Yeah, so Galley is the obvious one to talk about, the rest, so they were awarded those spaces because they don't have any other alternative. So I'm a little uncomfortable treating them different than we treat the others, however, the comments that I've received aren't so much about the parking spaces, it's about the presentation of the the Jersey barriers that they take away from people like having the, I've heard a lot of people like having the on-street parking, they like the feel, but the presentation. And so if we were to do it, that was something that I think we would have to require them to beautify the Jersey barriers that we need for safety. That, if we're gonna give them public space, they need to not degrade the streetscape. But, I hear what you're saying, and I think given that they do have it all open in front of the restaurant, it is less critical for their use of that. I did speak to EDC last night and asked their opinion, and it was, most of the people liked the outdoor seating, but there was concern about parking. It wasn't as strong as my colleagues' concern, but it was mentioned. But more about beautification, that it looks messy.
4 times a week.
Yeah, it becomes a question.
You still marinating?
Right.
You can marinate more.
We can
Yeah,
put it
very
on there.
good.
So I think the one thing I loved about the whole feel of the harbor is when we had all the outside dining and we had them extending as far down as the galley, it really added to the community, I thought. A lot more people were out there, it was a lot more festive, it was just a great atmosphere in the town. It brought a lot of people together, people walking down the street, seeing people eating outside, it was really a good community event, I thought, every weekend. I don't know, I do agree more, there's 3 they're prime parking spots. People don't wanna park over at CVS and walk over to the gym, I get that. I don't know if there's a way, like some of the other establishments, that the parking spots are actually available until a dining time. Jersey barriers are not easy to move, but if there was some way to put something else that went out at 4:30 and blocked off 2 or 3 spots and then was removed again at 11 when it closed and allowed, because the gym's not as busy at the hours that the restaurant is busy. If there's some way to do that would allow both functionalities to happen.
And I don't think it's just about the gym, I mean.
Or no, whatever, the bakery,
Other businesses
right,
down
the
there as
bakery's
well.
not open at 8 o'clock at night, but it is open at 8 in the morning and people wanna use it. And the way it was set up last year, those spots were unusable for the whole period. So maybe someone can get creative and say, but at 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock or whatever time we wanna make it, that those are available to them, if he even wants to do it, because it would take work on his side to get it set up and established, and that's what the other places do too, right? Whatever it is,
Take down.
Hibernia takes down some of the
Yeah, I don't know
stuff.
how you can do that, because how do you expect people to understand what the parking rules are gonna be? Because cars would have to be out of that spot by 3 o'clock or 4
When
o'clock.
the spot empty, you have to cone it off so people couldn't park there. I defer to Kevin not to put him on the spot, but the barriers are designed to not stop a car, the plastic with water, they're not gonna stop a speeding car, but they are gonna keep a speeding car from just running right through there. I'm not sure if there's anything that would be that mobile, Kevin, that you could put in and out on a regular basis.
No, that was the latest we could do when we were looking instead of concrete Jersey barriers. We thought the plastic barriers would look better, and we had spoke at the time to the galley, maybe they could dress them up a little bit, because they are white ugly plastic barrels, but they do the job and you do need protection. I don't think the police chief would allow it. I would strongly suggest against it, not using barrels, something like that's a Jersey barriers.
Well, he would have to be involved in creating something that would be movable, but yet secure, so that it would, protect the patrons in the event of an accident, is my thought. I understand the parking spots, maybe shrink it to 2 instead of 3, but I do like the ambiance, I do like the feel of Front Street when there's a lot of festive stuff going on there, and I think the outside dining adds to it a lot, so I'd like to see if there's some way we can change.
I agree with you, but I also have concerns about, should be 2 spaces instead of 3. Because there is, the argument that having the vibrancy can bring more future business down, because you see it, oh, much more lively, and does that kind of help? They're large, but it does come down to the equity and the fairness. Yeah, Arbor House can do the deliveries versus in a park, we try to do this as well, but, it's funny, it's almost shame on me and shame on us not getting more serious about parking up those side streets. And talked about it before, other places that we could have had more parking. But, I mean, I haven't heard a huge outcry of people being that upset with it, with having it there, but those 3 spaces does seem much. So I guess I would be more in favor of 2 instead of 3. Doesn't- That's where I am.
Also, I would argue that it's still festive down there, whether or not they're in the middle of the road or not, because the visitor road is open. It's a very
Yeah, I
festive
feel
place
like
to begin with.
that restaurant
It's
is
festive anyway.
outside.
Yeah.
And, I think that's one of the things that people like about it a lot. But they're outside, but they're not on the sidewalk or the street. So I think he's got, in some ways, the best of both worlds, so.
I agree with that too, it's also now we're in this phase of, well, what is the renovation gonna be? Is it gonna still be, I don't know,
Yeah,
I have no
that's-
idea, is it all gonna be closed up and be a French restaurant for all I know, I really don't know. So. I don't know.
Should we hear from the rest of them and see?
Are we done? Does anyone have any other comments? If there's none, I'll open up the audience. Ben, if you wanna speak, raise your hand and give your address. Not raise your hand. I may give your name.
My name and my address?
Yes, please.
So my name is Karen Marco, 611.
Hi.
Over by the Alto. So yes, I sent you a letter a couple of months ago, and my reason is just what's already been stated, and also too, with those Jersey barriers up there. So they've had 3 spaces, but it actually makes it tough to park either in front of or behind, because the Jersey barrier takes up 100% of the space. It's so the corners. So if you're, I'm a lousy parallel parker, but if you're trying to get in to one of those adjacent spots, it's tough. And I stated in my letter that those, having those parking spaces eliminated, I mean, basically the presence of those parking spaces for outdoor dining basically benefits one business, whereas there are dozens of other businesses in town. And Anthony, you talked about the vibrancy, seeing, that but I think that's with the openness of the restaurant, I think it's great when I drive down the street and I see those windows or doors, whatever you want to call them, open. I love seeing that. But personally, I don't love the idea of people sitting in parking spaces surrounded by Jersey barriers. I think it's ugly. And I do feel bad about even raising this because I know that the owner of the gallery has just made a huge investment in that property. He doesn't even own the property, I think Carter Gates still owns it. And I want him to do well, I want all of the businesses in Harbor to do well. But I don't think we need to eliminate 3 parking spaces on the major, the main drag in town, especially where there are large sections of Front Street that have no parking at all. So that's basically all I have to say.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
I don't know where we'll stand when we go here, but I think what I'd like to do is see if if we can go back to the owner of the establishment and see if he can come back with some sort of plan. I'd love to see if there's some sort of movable situation there where the spaces could be used during the day by the whole, all the establishments out there, but at night we could shut it down and it could be removed again in the evening. I think that should be vetted out. And then if people are, if there's a problem with the size, maybe it can be shrunk a little bit. You know, it doesn't have to go to the end of the spots, it can go a couple feet in or something if parking is really a concern there.
And the length of time, right, or even the length of time, maybe just July.
Yep, we could revisit all that. So why don't I suggest that we vote on all of them except that one tonight? And let's go back and get in touch with Kevin, maybe you can look and see what other options are available for protection wise and get with the owner of the property and see if he has any ideas. I think the concerns that I hear are the way it looks, right, the economy or the decor of those things. And then the state making sure, see if it can be movable so that the spaces could be used during the day for everybody and at night for him. And then the size, if you could shrink the footprint a little bit and still, if even wants.
One question about on the weekends.
Say that again?
Weekends, will you be able to start early on the weekend or on a Sunday?
We could figure out the times.
I'm just trying to get parameters when I talk to them.
I think the parameters are gonna be dining hours.
There are plastic barriers, but they won't stop your vehicle, is gonna be a problem.
Well, maybe he has to fill them with water.
Chair, can I ask a question? Is there a reason there's not a parking spot all the way to the end of the corner in front of the visual source?
You could talk to the vision source about that. I mean, they're.
Do you know what I mean? It's not
They
stuck
haven't
all the
left,
way to the
no,
end.
it was, I believe it was open for, commercial deliveries, for that section. I'd have to go back and talk to Chief
Okay.
Stewart, we had a big discussion about it way back then, but I thought it was something to do to keep the trucks from double parking there so that they can pull up and if they unloaded something, it wouldn't shut down the whole side.
Last summer, their authority was, because they were the permanent, semi-permanent barriers, they could open all their operating hours, I can't remember their hours.
Whether they're hours.
But I thought the first summer we could only.
The first summer, we had the street closed and had outdoor dining on the weekends. The front street was closed. Great, I mean, I think people loved it, but I knew it was a problem for Harbor House because they didn't want a business, takeout business, so it wasn't.
Why don't you kept him on the sidewalk and then just
That's
take,
not what
I'm just thinking like a hidden walkway instead of,
Still take out the parking
you still take out
spaces.
the parking spaces.
Yeah.
Is my imagination, where's the sidewalk in front of Vision Source wider?
It's much wider.
I think because the vision store building is set back a little further.
But then the entrance to the condos is kind of in the middle there, so we really couldn't move him over.
Yeah, there's a small little
wide.
park there. They didn't want the parking to extend, the seating to extend in front of
Right.
the parking park there, so
Right,
that's why we narrowed it down. So get in the middle, so I'll talk to Brian, we'll set something up next week, maybe we can have Kevin and either Chief Thompson or Deputy Steve, and see if we can come up with something. I don't know if there's anything that would satisfy the public safety aspect and the easy in, easy out, but we'll see what we come up with.
Yeah, and maybe you did 2 spaces and restriped it, so you get another 2 cars in there. And I'm telling you, they're very big spaces. So maybe they're not standard, I don't know, another parking space striper.
Alright, so can I have a motion to support all of them except the galley, currently called galley, and then we'll come back to that one at the next meeting.
Move to direct the town administrator to approve extension of premise licenses to the Hibernian Tavern, the River Club, Mill Wharf, Restaurant Oro. Do I do the ones on the bottom too?
No.
No, okay, just those.
Second one is Curran, further discussion, any other comment? All in favor? Aye, it is unanimous, 5-0, and we'll put the galley on the agenda for the next video. The next topic for discussion vote is the national opioid litigation. Jim?
Very quickly, the town has already agreed to a settlement, a national settlement with the manufacturers of opioids. We've already received about $175,000 in. We're due roughly another $200,000 from that settlement over the next couple of years. We will have discussions with the board on how that's gonna be used. It does need to be used for treatment or prevention. Our grant for fax will run out in a year or two, so it'll be a easy transition to use this, but what this is now, part of that suit was also suing the distributors of opioids. And this involves, as you can see, CVS, Walgreens, Walmart, Teva, and Allergan. The total settlement nationwide is around $20 billion. That'll be divvied up between states and political subdivisions, Scituate. I don't know how much we're gonna get at this point, but I do ask the board to vote to accept the settlement with the distributors and allow me to sign any documents that need to be signed in order to get that paperwork done.
Any questions?
No.
A lot of
It's nice to
dollars.
see that go through.
Yeah.
It's wonderful to see that.
Why are prices so high? Because they have $5 billion that they can pay in the settlement.
Not this week.
Yeah, no kidding.
All right, can I have a motion to Jim to proceed with the settlement?
Move to approve Jim to proceed with the national opioid litigation settlement on behalf of the president.
Second by Ms. Canfield, further discussion? Any questions? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye, it's unanimous, 5-0. Okay, we now have old business. Nancy is coming for us with title possessions. And the auction agreement. What's the, is this for the Lincoln property or both?
This is for the 19 title possessions we brought for you, Joe, Pam, and myself at the last meeting, and you deferred further discussion on it until the rest of the board was here.
Yeah.
You don't need to take a vote on it. Pam has the authority as custodian of tax title possessions. We just wanted to make sure that there weren't any concerns with the parcels. You did raise concerns on 2 parcels, so hopefully in packet you have a little feedback that I did that following morning. The first was a parcel that was on Greenwald, and as you can see, it's fully wet. And then the second, I think Tony that you raised that, and then Andrew, you raised one on the 2 Brooklyn parcels. And those are a couple of blocks away from Pier 44. There is a parcel that's directly adjacent to Pier 44, and that was never considered for sale.
Yeah, so the ones that are a few blocks away, because they're seeing it, it's buildable, not buildable, because I only say it because it's possible, speaking parking.
Yeah, one of them is got dark green shading almost through all of it. And it is a corner of someone else has like an L around it, so I would think they would be the only ones that would be interested in it. And then the other one doesn't have any major wetlands that I see based on the map, but it is only 26,000 square feet, so likely it will only be something that a butter would want.
I just say it in case.
Where's the piece for that one?
That's,
Okay.
page 4.
Yes.
Do you want to see where it is near Pier 44? Yeah, actually.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Yes,
Okay.
here's Hadley,
Yeah.
That is there, so really a lot. That's like this.
You'd be parking in a residential.
I just raised it, yeah, no, just in case there
No,
was.
I mean, it's a good point.
So to your point, Andrew, the other 26,000 square foot lot, the comments that we have from the land use department's building said should yield at least one house lot, possibly two, depending on wetlands flagging, planning marked it as wet.
That's the, on the,
That's the 26,400, the one that's further away. The one that's closer is
but that
predominantly.
one doesn't have any green in it.
No, it doesn't appear to have any green in it. So there's nothing that's clearly showing it as wetlands, but it was identified by planning as wet. You'd have to wonder why it wasn't built previously, but could be because it was foreclosed, it was just considered.
It's gonna be wet for that, but for
It's in an
gravel parking lot.
it's in an R3 zone.
Guys think of that. Do we not do that one and pursue it to see if we get parking there, or, because there's nothing to the right of it either, there's two parcels to the right.
Which on Brooklyn?
We don't own those, but they're not, it's not like they're,
Would you cross a busy thoroughfare and walk that far?
Like,
or,
or, you know, there are the boat trailers that, I don't know how much parking you can fit on that amount of land, but, boat trailers during the height of the season.
maybe
Also,
too
I
much of a
think-
burden to put on.
I think it's really not a good idea. If you're in a butter in that property and it's residential zone, I mean, even if it's just a parking lot that's used during the daytime, it just could create some issues.
Yeah.
Well, if somebody wants to try to build on it, that's someone natural.
Well, I think that's the real question in my mind. How much of this, it's like a really long list. When you have a really long list, how much actually goes up to auction? Because my experience is, when you see a house being foreclosed, right up until the very last second, and then they come up with the money for it.
These are all currently foreclosed properties, so the town already is in possession of them. I think from the bulk of them, only interested party would be in a butter. There are some of them, like the first parish parcels that we identified that probably will see a developer.
Okay.
And then there are the two parcels that we already have, interest. That has been, someone has already come to the town asking them to sell it. So we know we can sell at least two.
Yeah,
We sell all 19? Probably not. I mean, if you're in a butter and you don't have the funds to buy the land, you may come to the auction, make a deposit, and make sure that nobody else buys the land. If nobody else buys it, the town still owns it, you're not owing any money. I didn't just say that.
but the town still has the right to do what they want with it within the lots, within
Yeah,
zoning,
they're
within. So you're taking a risk if you're in a butter,
Yeah.
if you don't buy it,
If you don't want anything to happen to it,
then you should buy it.
own it, yeah. And I think for some people, this has been an opportunity, they've already approached or they never thought they would have the opportunity to own it.
Will we set minimums or will the auctioneer recommend?
We'll let the auctioneer recommend. In the past, he's recommended not doing minimums because you discourage competition. Whereas if you started going, then they start to compete against one another.
We saw that.
Is there anyone here for any of these properties? No?
Would be to 8 Bramble Ave, I believe that, one of them on the list.
That's one parcel that there is already interest for purchase.
And I didn't hear you press them.
Eight Bramble.
Eight Bramble.
Okay, so no one's on for, we'll come to you guys in one second, but no one's here for the Brooklyn. Okay, so maybe Karen, you were going down that path, Karen Canfield. Put it up for auction, if the butters doesn't buy it, then we've kind of given everyone a chance to do something with it.
Right.
And then maybe we come back and look at something after that.
That was all, I just wanted to.
I mean, it's only a couple blocks away, so it's closer than Barclay.
You're so spoiled, not walking in.
What's that?
Yeah,
What's
it's
that?
not that
Park in
far.
front of the gym?
It's nothing to do, oh my God, you just.
And then go next door to the bakery after the gym.
Pickleball court.
I love that.
Okay. Why don't we look at the Ramble Avenue? One report.
You will have it in your packet because it wasn't one of the ones you questioned.
Do have no fallback.
You have the packet from before, from last week.
The
Yeah.
Yeah.
presentation.
There we have it.
Okay,
I
I didn't know
get
you had
Miss Devon is thorough. Yeah, so we have
What
Brenda,
page is that? Are you?
it's page 46, I think. No.
It's because two of them weren't here, Nancy, so I wanted them to have a chance
Not
to look at all
Well,
your
it's,
work.
that's page number
Thank you.
48, right?
Yeah,
I would think before it's the end.
Yeah,
Page
page
48.
48.
Okay,
Third map.
so was this one of the ones that we thought was a developer would buy that it's buildable?
No, this is one of the two that there was already an inquiry made for purchase. So somebody was interested and came forward and said they wanted to buy that lot from the town. I don't know if it's the person that's in the audience with us today or if it's somebody else.
And there's a structure on there, or isn't
There isn't a structure, there was a structure, is my understanding, if you look at this on here, not, you can just see it's basically clear.
Do you guys wanna
there?
say
We're
something?
talking about Bramble now?
Yeah, we are.
Yes, okay, and we're just making sure. We can keep on this, sure.
Your name and address would be great.
Paul Apple, 20 Wampatuck Ave, adjacent to 18 Brandon Road. We're butters.
Okay.
It's eight.
Eight.
Yeah. Well, it's the house, the property that was there was taken down.
I'm sorry, what's your name?
Susan Happel, I'm sorry,
Oh,
20 Wampatuck Ave.
What's your last name?
Happel, Happel.
Okay, thank you, sorry.
No, where's Sheila?
Right where that,
She's right here.
Okay.
Yeah, right on the.
right, we're on the corner of the
Okay.
street.
Great.
Okay. So there was a home on there, probably, oh my gosh,
19,
30-something years ago. But it was a disaster and abandoned. And so the town actually took it down because it was a hazard. Kids were going into it, it's dangerous. And so it has not been a home on there for probably 34 years, 35. So we've maintained it. There was an old fence that fell down along the property. We replaced the fence. We put a new fence where that existing fence was and have maintained the property. And it's basically, we step out our back door onto it.
Okay.
So it really is, it's
It's
really
close.
non-buildable, so it's not beneficial to anybody else.
Right. So are you in favor of it going up for auction so you can try and buy it?
Well, that's what we're inquiring, how, what would the process be? Does it have to go to auction?
Yes.
It does, okay. So we couldn't just try to buy it outright prior to that. But it's really not to anyone else's benefit except maybe another abutter, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay,
Somebody just out of the blue said, I could buy that, put my boat in.
oh, yeah.
But the town can't,
Somebody did.
the town can't dispose of property without a procurement process, and that's the statute that we have to follow when we get rid of stuff. So it has to go up to it, has to be made available to the general public to purchase.
Yes, sir.
For the record, my name is John Apple, son. I'm also a builder in town, but I inquired to the building department of whether there is this property ever being developed because of the fact that there was a structure there at one point. And I guess that's also a similar concern, like another main concern of this is we just, even if, say it does go up for auction, they do not get it, we just are looking for insurance that it cannot be developed because it had pre-existing structure.
We can't give you that, but whoever would build it would have to pass all the guidelines and the bylaws and restrictions that would come with the property. So that's probably the best question for Bob Vogel.
Sure.
And he'd be able to tell you what could go there and what couldn't go there.
Okay.
Yeah. Does anyone feel comfortable answering that?
No, I think that's exactly right. They looked at this already and their preliminary was that there's not enough area within our zoning right now. Does that, even your builder, if you were a builder, that somebody could go to ZBA and try to get a variance, but you have to go through that process.
Or the guy in front could buy it, and put
Or
something in his
combine
hand
a lot
on it.
or,
Yeah, another, yeah.
Any other questions regarding it? Well, I mean, you'll be informed in terms of where the auction is and what the process is, and I assume it's just $5,000, going once, going twice type thing.
Yeah, that's what I mean,
And
he's
about-
already asked.
butters are always.
What is it? I'm sorry.
It's just an auction where they're like, can I have $10,000 for this piece of property? Okay, can I have 11? And then going once, going twice.
So they would, we would be informed and they would give us instructions on what we would need to do ahead of time.
Yeah. Typically, you have to have like a 10,000, you have to have
Double check.
a bond or something.
Yeah, no, he'll request a bond, and even if the auctioneer doesn't do it, my recommendation to Pam will be to notify every single touching parcel owner, because that's your bidder pool. But knowing the auctioneer, they're also very active, I think they may just ask us for a list so they can send out a letter with the links in the packet. Plus, it will be on our website.
They usually put a sign up too,
Yeah,
the details.
I don't know if they'll put the sign, because these are all vacant land, so it might not do any, and there's 19 of them.
And it's an
But they're-
online auction, Liz?
I know, looking in person auction,
Oh, it's in
but it may be
person.
in person at one
On
location here.
location for all the properties.
Yeah. And it depends on how he processes it out. I already spoke to Justin and he's very excited about it. So he's actually, he's always excited, that's all.
And just formality, notified by mail, within a certain time period.
I can't guarantee it will be notified by mail, but that would be my recommendation, that we would send you a letter by mail, because we want to encourage you as a possible potential bidder to come out and
Okay,
do it.
thank you.
To ease some of their concern, I think some of the segments also over the first parish property, there's really much more expensive properties as well, so. That are buildable, that are very clearly buildable. Get your friends that on that one.
Well, and someone, even if he thinks they can develop it, they're gonna know if they wanna try to develop that, they're gonna run into all kinds of opposition from the neighbors at the zoning appeal, so it's not gonna be something where they can just buy and throw a house up. I think Nancy's right, if this is a piece of property that's attractive to the family, probably the other family, maybe a house behind it that connects to it, saying like it, you know, you could put a garage there or something, but it's not something someone's gonna buy on speculation, saying, oh, I might be able to put a house in there. My opinion, but
All right, any other questions on, anybody else here for any other properties that we're talking about? No? Any other questions on any of the properties? No. All right, are we all good with, Nancy proceeding? Can I have a motion?
Yeah.
You don't need to vote.
It was just if you just had objection, and the auctioneer's contract for the 19 parcels is, we've already approved this auctioneer, it's just in there for signature.
Great, thank you, Nancy.
Thank you.
So, the next new business, we have a discussion vote on the annual license renewals. And the first one is the seasonal liquor and entertainment license for the Scituate Beach Association. They come before us here, the community's been,
Oh, you're gonna
I think the house has been there for 100
Okay, so
years.
you put on the minutes. Thank you.
It's a great community function facility. I know they do a ton of things with kids. I know they do the parade. I know they do 100 fundraisers a year for sporting events and other Christmas, whatever it is. And I think they've been good stewards of the land. I know there may have been a few noise violations over the years that police have gone, and it's just been resolved if that's ever the case, but no major violations. I know we have a letter about it. I have some questions on the parking area across the street, which I've been told, and I may have to do more research on later, but it's all been marked out by conservation, and they're parking in the area that the town has actually told them they're allowed to park in.
Or maybe.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
we'll get out and double check and make sure that the markers are still where they're supposed to be.
Yeah, if they're not, I'm sure that's, I think actually, members of the should watch, they just want to be told where you can park, you can't park. And I know that there's one abutter that I think has written letters for the last couple of years saying that they, are against, the licenses going on. With that being said, I'll,
That abutters here in the audience.
okay, we'll open it up. Andrew's recused himself, and he must be a member of the Beach Association.
The first time I've actually seen any complaints in the police department on SBA, so I'd love to ask, I'm sure you're here, for
Yes.
representing. Maybe what changed, what changed last year, or was there anything different that they conducted that prompted those complaints? Because usually there are no complaints. And 8 to 10 years I sat here. This is the first time I've seen actual police reported complaints. So was there anything that happened last year that prompted that you can think of that you may potentially be able to provide some corrective action?
The only one I'm,
Do you know what
sorry.
the dates are? Do you want me to tell you what they are?
Yeah, if you can tell me that.
One was, 2 for July 16th and then 2 for July 29th. And I'll say they were, well, no, actually, 1 for July 16th, 1 for July 29th. One was noise complaint for both noise complaints for parties. One's Friday, one's a Saturday night, so.
Yeah, I think the police did come to one of the concerts we had, and our entertainment license went to 12, I think we shut it down right at 12 when the police got there, I don't know what time the complaint is.
12:30.
12:30.
Can you just give us your name
Yes, sir. Todd Womack, 75 Shore Road.
and your,
Representing the Beach Association as the acting bar manager.
so the one on the 16th, you believe was a party?
I think it would have been a Saturday, I think we usually we had the band on Saturday, I don't know if the Friday could have been a private event or.
So it looks like
We'd have
that.
to check.
If I'm reading this right, an anonymous caller called up about a noise complaint and the music was shut off and they closed within a half hour.
Yeah, 12:30 on a Saturday.
Can you see what time they called?
Yeah, it's on the narrative, it's 12:30.
Both
The call came in after midnight. Friday night was, the call came in at 10:30 at night. And the people were outside and there was music outside. Which is not consistent with it. So, yeah.
Yes.
So what's interesting, this is all relevant, obviously, because the liquor license we take very seriously, but the concerns, a lot of the concerns in the letter and the concerns about the music are, concerns about music are the entertainment license, not the liquor license. So that's one thing, the enforcement of that and that stuff, right? They're not.
But we're doing both.
Are we doing both?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, I apologize, I thought we were just doing the liquor, okay. I retract that.
So I guess there were 2 noise violations which got resolved. It looks like they got resolved right away. No issue with it. Was the noise past the time of the license?
The first one would have been at 12:30.
Yeah.
Or was it like,
What's the license code?
12 a.m.
So 12.
Okay.
so it was not.
All right, so
So to back up, because it's in a residential area, so I mean, obviously, if they're scooting past 30 minutes, right? Do we back that up 30 minutes to make sure that they're quieter, sir?
I mean, that's an option.
I think that's a very good suggestion. I mean, obviously, if the door is open and people are outside, then they're in violation of the entertainment, it's an indoor license. So A,
Who's outside?
if folks are taking music outside or being, on the porch or whatever, music and liquor, that's a violation. Permits or licenses. That was what that one complaint was, they were outside of the music.
They don't need an entertainment license to have like a iPod music
Inside.
or outside. If you would just have an iPod, music on your iPod.
Right.
It doesn't
And you
require
can walk outside
entertainment.
if someone's playing inside.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to clarify
Yeah.
that point.
Okay.
We're talking about disc jockeys, bands, things like that.
Right.
Can only
I
be
mean,
inside.
they weren't performing outside, that would be a violation.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just should
Just to
have
clarify.
alcohol outside either.
They should have
I
alcohol
don't think they
outside.
should have their alcohol outside in the theaters.
They do not have a permit for outside alcohol, no, currently they do not. But
And
there's,
is the current application for the same interior of,
yes,
Yeah, no change to it, but
or the entertainment license.
Well, there's only an inside entertainment license anyway,
Right.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But no one performed outside.
yeah, no, we would never.
No, yeah, okay. Well, I would recommend that the board consider adjusting the later side and having it go from 12 p.m. to either 11 p.m., which I think is fine. I don't think, it is a residential neighborhood, so.
I mean, we've done that with some restaurants, like if they, you know, you end the entertainment license prior to the liquor service, and we've done that in a lot of places, I think.
Well, I would also say that because it's a club, it's not like you're, outside patrons at a restaurant is a different situation. If people have to leave at 11 o'clock, I don't think that's such a sacrifice.
Well, we're not saying they have to leave, we're just saying that their music and their entertainment stops.
Right,
Yeah.
which means that most of the time people wander off back home from wherever they're
That
going.
means when their liquor cuts off, then
Right.
people are actually happy to go.
Well, I would suggest we make the same hours.
Well, the violations are noise,
Right.
Right.
so if you wanna cut that music back by a half hour, then that, I mean, again, unless we talk to the manager, yes, some sort of other,
I'm talking entertainment, I'm not
Right.
talking liquor.
no, I'm saying, you may
Okay.
say, well, we've already
Right.
where it's fine to leave it at 12, because now we're doing this, this, and this, and, we feel comfortable with that.
And
So,
weddings, well, wait a second.
Yeah, so why don't we get feedback from, the neighbor, and then from, the association, see what they have done. Just your name and address.
I'm Della, and this is Steve Shepherd. We live up the street from the Beach Association. And we didn't call in the noise complaints, although we could have. The concerns are, as we stated in the letter, which that the Beach Association has changed. And the result is it's a bar room with entertainment in a residential neighborhood. They've done good things over the years. My kids went to many events there. It's not the same place. And not only is it, so there's potentially impaired drivers and a lot of trash and noise in the neighborhood, but there's also so the people who go there to drink have to have some place to park. And they're parking on a wetlands lot. And yeah, they finally put signs up 2 years after the Conservation Commission asked them to. But they put it in the wrong place. They are using more of that lot than they should. And it's bad for the salt marsh, it's hurting the environment.
Well, that will be resolved, and that's your opinion on it, because we have some differing opinions in terms of that, but
Yeah,
But we'll get that resolved, we'll go out, we'll mark out where they can park and where they can't park, and they will adhere to it. So, I don't know who moved signs or who did what, but that's easy to resolve, right? If the sign's in the wrong place, we'll put the stake in the right place.
Steve Shepherd, 70 Scituate Avenue. I just question the need for a full-time liquor license for this place in a residential neighborhood. Why does it have to be a drinking establishment all the time? If they have events, they can get a one-day liquor license. If they're not, they have put a giant deck on the side of the building now.
that's gonna lead to people out there drinking, unless there's a specific prohibition against it. More trash, you wouldn't believe how many plastic solo cups, fly around that neighborhood after one of these. Everybody goes home, the next morning you walk down there, it's a wasteland of trash. Someone might show up later in the day, by which time the neighbors have picked up trash. They are not good stewards. They are not, they have brought a intense, unwanted use to a residential neighborhood. It was never like this before. It's intensified since you first approved the liquor license in 2017 after they had been doing it under the table. I realize, everybody wants things for the kids. Why does booze have to be a part of it? I just don't understand it. And I don't think any of you would want it, in your own neighborhoods.
We haven't called the police on them, although we could have. We just go down there and pick it up, clean up the messes that they make, that other people make on the properties they use. And we haven't called the police on them. They threatened to call the police on us.
Okay, I don't know if we want to go to that.
No, but we just want to say it's not appropriate in that neighborhood. There need to be restrictions on it at the very least. And why can't they get a one-day license for all of their events? Why does it have to be 24/7? I mean, seasonal, it covers all the seasons. It never ends. I mean, it's essentially, there's neon sign inside, it's a sport park.
A woman stopped me just yesterday outside the Beach Association. She says, I can tell you that all the families like mine, all the people who've been here for 70 years, they know what it used to be like. And they know that now it's the bar room at the corner of Scituate and Otis. Who approved a bar room for our neighborhood?
And I'd also be curious who approved them using the parking lot. It's a residential neighborhood, it's a large parking lot, used for boat trailers. I would like to know.
You say you have other information about how parking should be conducted there. Well, I'd like to know how the line is being drawn. It seems like nobody with expertise or in the section of a salt march has anything to say about what goes on at that lot. And it's just plain destructive of the natural environment.
Yeah.
So we did ask our conservation agent about this when we received your letter, to get information so that we were informed. And our conservation agent informed us that they own the lot, so no one gave them the lot, they own the lot for their use. They came to conservation and they came for, it's called a request for determination of applicability. So the conservation commission is in charge of making sure that they are using those areas which are permitted. And what the chair has said is that that's not, we're gonna send somebody else to double check that. They're not supposed to, they know that, and our conservation agent is in charge of enforcing it. But it is their property and it has gone through the process for their use of that, now it's an enforcement issue.
Okay.
Can I ask you one thing? Why isn't it listed as, why aren't they listed as the owner of the property in town tax?
I do not know the answer to that, I would have to ask the.
It doesn't show up in the assessors maps, but when I asked the assessors, they said that they own a house, so.
Okay.
I'll check and make sure they're getting a tax.
Are they getting taxed on it?
Yeah. We'll make sure they're paying for it there.
Good question.
That is a good question.
Well, to me, whoever owns it, it's still a protected natural resource. And we've been abusing it tremendously. And this isn't the only place that that's happening. But, we've had a chance to protect that lot. We seem to have signed it away 7 years ago by giving liquor licenses and entertainment licenses that require that they park all over that.
So I'm gonna stop that because you, until we get someone that knows where they're parking, we don't even know if they're parking illegally. This is just you saying that. So we have somebody that was out there that measured it and pointed it out back in to 2019, and then in 2021. So as recent as last year, 2 years ago. And if those states move, then we'll get it reassessed and we'll get it marked properly. But it has been looked at and it has been delineated where they could park and not park. So if you're saying that you think that that's not being done properly, then we will get it enforced like Ms. Canfield just said, and we'll get someone out there to delineate it more efficiently.
So I'm just, and it's the conservation agent who
Yep.
was who was drawing these lines.
Yeah.
Who enforces the lines, she does, yeah.
But how, yeah, who
Who
figured out
enforces
the
it?
line and figured out the boundaries?
She would.
As well, with the,
Who is?
Amy Walker.
Yes.
Walker.
Well,
Yeah, that's who helped keep put the stakes in.
but the Conservation Commission oversees that as well. So there's an application to the Conservation Commission. Amy is our internal professional that understands the rules and regs. She makes the recommendation and the commission approves it. It's the process, correct?
And it was just done a year and a half ago, so it's not like it's been not looked at for decades and decades. So that'll be resolved. We'll look at it and see where it should be marked, and it'll be done properly, and they'll adhere to it, or it'll be fine.
But I would just like, to my point, why in a all season liquor license for a constant everyday drinking instead of approving these events one at a time?
So.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I actually think that's a valid point. I think I was on the board back then, if I can recall, I think because they had been conducting in that way anyway, without a license, that it was made official, if you will. But I gotta say, I feel like, the management or, that changes, right, year over year, Todd. So I don't know how long you've been in charge, since 2017, but maybe there needs to be a deeper look into being a better neighbor, right? Obviously, the complaints have increased. I do remember the shepherds here, I think, previous years, but like I said earlier, we haven't had other complaints since then. So to me, it sounds like it's escalating year over year over year. And that's just an observation sitting here at this desk, because I'm not down there. So I understand that. So I would recommend that we at least take one issue that we have multiple complaints about, which is the entertainment and the timing, it being in that, and I would recommend to back it up an hour. So everybody's settling down, and I would hate to have a bar next to my home as well. And I understand it's been there for 70 years, but it just seems like it's escalating. So I would recommend that we at least consider pulling entertainment back in an hour, and then if something happens or we have to reevaluate, we then go look at the liquor.
And you're that based on these two noise complaints?
I am, yeah, because we've never had any.
Well,
So
officially.
there's only been one noise complaint that's actually after hours. This one is during, this one was complained,
Right.
but it was during the hours of the event.
Doesn't matter, it still means that it was loud. I mean, I understand, just because it was two, yeah, that's what I'm making my determination on, because I'm just getting the sense that it's starting to escalate.
Based on this family that's complained a lot and one police
Absolutely.
raid.
We have complained never.
Oh,
You said we had complained a lot.
Did you write a letter last year?
We sent one, but we opposed it. That's not complaining.
Well, no.
We're complaining?
Well, no, you're concerned, maybe complaining is the wrong word, but you're clearly against the operation of the facility, right? You just.
As it is being operated now, I have been since at least 2017 with the full liquor license, yes.
Okay, and have you written complaints to the board on numerous occasions about?
No, we've written
We have
Written.
at the time of your annual license reviews. And
Right.
as I said, we could have called the cops, but we're trying to work through this process. We tried to work directly with the beach association. And I don't know why our complaints are
Why it's complaints?
dismissible or our
But
comments
they're
are
not dismissible, we're
dismissed
discussing.
because you consider them too minute for something.
No, that's not it at all. We're trying to decide whether we should take a policy that we've had in place for years and change it because we have one letter complaining about it, that has complained about it multiple times. I mean, if, it's my understanding that a lot of the people that live in the communities, your neighbors, enjoy the establishment and use the establishment.
And as many people who enjoy and use the establishment are concerned about parking on the banks of the salt marsh, about impaired drivers driving through the neighborhood, and noise spilling out the patio doors onto a huge deck like it's gonna happen this summer. I mean, there are all kinds of interests here and all kinds of concerns.
And nobody likes the trash. Which, you know, everybody goes home at night happy, and it's left there till the next day. At least shouldn't they be made to clean it up after they get done?
Isn't there anything you can put in a liquor license or an entertainment license that says you have to maintain your premises to a certain standard?
I'm gonna let Mr. Golak speak for a second about the trash and your kind of side of the story.
Yeah, thank you. As far as parking, what we feel like we're in compliance, if we're not, we will be, so just so that's clear for it. Let's speak to the violation on the entertainment license first. Yeah, the one that was after 12:30, that we probably just had to bang one a little late, and as soon as we were aware what time it was, we shut it down. I believe we had 3 or 4 bands last year. I haven't seen the calendar yet for this year, but I can't imagine we'll have done that. So if you do decide to take it back a little bit, I was just wondering what the process would be, you know, bring it back up to midnight? Or would that just be a permanent change?
Well, that's just Ms. Kerr's.
Okay, well, okay, so that would be one concern, because we don't have a lot of events, but we would be fine with left there. As far as trash, we don't really let people drink outside in the first place, so I'm not exactly sure where the trash is coming from. All of our bartenders are tip certified. No one driving out of there, served from the SBA, the bartenders are aware of, and we proved their tip certification already in the select board. The deck we put on to become more handicap compliant, as well as the bathroom renovation that we've done. The bar is what funds these capital improvements to this place. The SBA membership has been going up year after year. I think we're literally up to like 300 families right now.
There you go.
Which is, you know, it screams for the success of the organization and the impact it's making, I think. People really want to get involved with it. But as a byproduct, our events are getting more and more popular. I imagine that most of the trash that they're picking up is coming from the kids' nights. And, you know, we've had kids' events where there's hundreds of kids down there. We do our best to clean up, and we put a dumpster in the place, so we're trying to keep track of the trash. We're recycling all of our glass now. We're doing things on our own to try to keep the neighbors. And we'll continue to do that. You know, we feel like we provide a pretty nice service for not only our members, but for other people who need the building, for sports events, film studies, any sort of fundraisers. We open the building up for free to anyone to use, basically. And a lot of our, you know, our success is based on what we've become. I think we're becoming a really interesting organization. I'm really proud of it.
So I think what we're hearing are a couple of things that I think, to Maura's point, we want to see some improvements on in terms of the trash. That's, you know, the parking thing is resolved, right? They're gonna put lines in there, you gotta park for the no lines. The trash and the noise are the two things that I'm hearing are the issue. So Maura has an idea of bringing back the time on the payment part, that would allow the noise to stop sooner. And then I don't know what you could do internally about the trash. But that's obviously, yeah.
A more concerted effort to make sure everyone's going to events, because we do have a lot of members that come in and run events. It's not just the operating board, the president, vice president. The chairs that run the kids' events, and we'll just make sure that everyone knows you've got to, for the most part, we feel like everyone's cleaned up. I mean, I don't know about the trash blowing on the street.
I've been listening, and I feel as though you're right, somehow or other, a bar room has wound up in the middle of a residential neighborhood. I personally think that one-day licenses for events would be fine. I understand you've got finances that you need to worry about, but I really think that this sounds like it's a 7-day-a-week, 7-night-a-week bar.
Well, now, I mean, we're not, we can give you the calendar as soon as we print it out, but it's really mostly kids' nights. The adult events would be typically Saturday nights. We do have men's cornhole that goes in on Thursday nights, but that's not even every Thursday. Other than that, there's a few ladies' nights sprinkled in there. It's not open, I know about it, it's not open every night.
But we're giving a license for every night.
Yeah, but we're not using it to the
Don't
full
need it.
capacity.
I'm just trying to clarify here. Because, so in other words, unless there's an event there, you can't just walk in there and get a drink.
No,
So it's only for members.
Yeah.
It's only for events.
it's only for the calendar events.
All right, so as long as it's not 7 days a week, well, that's what the license.
No, yeah, that's the license
Yes, and
that,
I'm just trying to clarify, and it seems like the Scituate Beach Association, I know, we've got a couple of them around, but I think you're the biggest one that's got the biggest, facility.
Yeah.
Is that if this has all of a sudden been a beach association, which everyone associates with seasonal events, whist parties, that's what I grew up over at Shore Acres, we played whist. But this sounds like, just based on what you're asking for, it seems like it's a bar room. So I would not be in favor of that, but if it's a matter of that the bar is only open to, either guests of or beach association members when there's an event, I would be far more comfortable with that. But I don't know if there's a way to rewrite the license so that it's more targeted toward.
I think you have someone that just told you that that's the way that it runs, so,
Well, because I asked. Yeah, because it's not clear on the license. It looks to me by the license that they can operate 11 in the morning, from April 1st to January 15th, from 11 in the morning until 10 PM on Friday, Saturday, or into 12, whatever, it's a,
so would you prefer them do their calendar?
yeah.
And then you would say, I'll give you a liquor license for all these 40 days?
Isn't that what we do for the yacht club?
I think so, I'm always confused.
Yeah, but I think that's what we do, that we issue them the license, but then we approve the dates.
Well, that's for their
That's
big
not what we
events.
do.
That's just
That's
for the
not
big
what we
events.
do.
No,
No, that's for their big events, I think.
no, that's for their outdoor entertainment purpose.
Oh, yeah.
All right,
So
they
it's
have a liquor license
year round.
year round, anytime,
And entertainment license.
and an entertainment license. Well, the outdoor entertainment, they do give us a list of their summer outdoor entertainment that we get for it.
Okay.
Just to clarify.
That's, yeah, I'm not in either one of them, so I don't know.
There are a lot of restrictions on one-day licenses, you can only have 30 a year. It's very different than a liquor license. A seasonal liquor license.
Why do you think about that, Al? Karen?
Oh, marinate.
Just clarification, so you mentioned 300 members, is there a cap on membership?
there's gonna be some, yeah, there's
Well,
gonna have to be.
there's gonna have to be, yeah, I mean,
A lot of the members that we have are, old people within the neighborhood, old members who, necessarily don't come to every event. It's, it's the families that come in with all the children and come to the pancake breakfast with big 2,000 pancakes.
do you cap the events?
The events are kind of based on the presidential calendar, it's pretty much
No,
just,
cap them as far as attendance, like.
oh,
capacity.
yeah, for
If
sure,
you have-
yeah.
What's your occupancy?
I think it's 125 for bands,
So we may have 300 members,
yeah,
family members,
family members,
they cannot occupy that space.
that's it.
And then the other clarifying question is probably for Lorraine is when somebody gets an outdoor entertainment license for a wedding, do you happen to, I'll put you on the spot, I do recall what we normally, since those are normally residential neighborhoods, what time do we think we make them cease entertainment?
Usually midnight,
It
At
is,
the
it goes
latest,
that late? Okay.
typically.
Yeah, but that's only in a neighborhood, one day every 30 years. Okay. I think, Ms. Burns, right, I think that this 2-year success, is creating some difficulties that need to be addressed. I think scaling back making the entertainment end a little bit earlier is a reasonable accommodation to the neighborhood, and the rest of those things need to be figured out. Obviously, I think you hear us, the noise and all of that is, you know, and if it turns out we've read this and there's this summer, you know, we have a lot more people complaining, then we'll have to revisit it again, but I think you have growing pains from the success of the program, and that has to be weighed against the fact that this has been in place for 100 years. It's an established institution in the community that needs to be, as you grow, you need to amend your actions to suit the community that you serve.
That's always my goal, for sure.
So can I suggest we trim the entertainment license back by, say, a half hour for the first year and see what becomes of that? And, you know, ask the committee to keep the place cleaner, and we'll get somebody out there right away to mark off the parking areas? Does that sound like a good first step?
I would say that.
And then obviously if, you know, again, we've got 2 complaints, one that's really after hours and 1 letter. I mean, I'm sure you could have put 300 families in here if you wanted to pitch the positive side to it, so.
I could have added a few more too.
What do you guys think, or do you wanna?
I think that's reasonable. I mean, if there are violations of the permits throughout the year, they can be revoked. So it's, you know, it's something we can keep an eye on, obviously.
And will there be no, does the liquor license require them, there's no outdoor drinking?
It's internal only. Their license is for the premises. Pardon me?
In the building.
That's what the
I think
license.
you could park, I think you could do it on the deck, just like you could do it at.
No.
Yes.
No, is it, so like Pier 44, I mean, not Pier 40, like TK's?
They have a permit to have serve alcohol on the deck.
Oh, they do,
SBA does
that's a
not.
separate one?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's part of the liquor license. They would have to file
We
to
did not
serve
file
outside, and they have not done it.
Our plan is to not allow outside drinking on that deck this year, and then maybe address it next year.
Right, it would have to be
But that
defined.
it would be an ABCC request, right?
Correct, an alteration of premise, yes.
Well, that's good.
Okay. Would you like a motion?
We're ready to
So
go.
do we have to, I'm sorry, just point of order, yes. Does it make sense that we say that the seasonal liquor license is applicable for only internal consumption, or is that?
No, it's already in the
That's
license.
good, okay,
It's already in the
It says
license.
it's definition of premises.
okay, that's what I was talking.
Yeah.
Alright. Yeah, I'm fine with moving with that, I do think part of it too is if the membership has grown so much, there certainly are people probably outside since your capacity is only 125 inside. So it's probably what's driving those two a little bit.
It does get pretty hot in there sometimes, so.
Yeah, so you gotta be.
People go out, they just can't.
I understand that, but
Can't take
Just
drinks.
the
that means
kids
the
are always
noise
running
is out,
around.
that means, you can't take the drink outside and unless you have a lot of bouncers, which I don't know if they do or they don't, it's hard to
Right.
to manage, so. Okay. All right, well, I'll move to approve the 2023 seasonal on-premise Section 12 club and all alcoholic license for the Scituate Beach Association for the hours of Monday through Thursday from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. and Friday, Saturday, Sunday from 11 a.m. to 12 a.m.
Second item?
Second.
Second by Ms. Canfield, further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all opposed?
No. And then I'll move to approve select board vote to renew the 2023 seasonal entertainment license with the hours of Monday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. and Friday, Saturday, Sunday from 11 a.m. to 11:30 p.m.
Is Sunday go to 11:30? Maybe we,
Yeah, I don't,
Well, and you wanted a half hour back, I'm fine to say
Yeah.
11 p.m. You want 11?
I was thinking for Sunday, Friday and Saturday, I think it's okay.
We would never have entertainment on
Yeah.
Sunday.
So why don't you say the Sunday's at 10?
Okay,
Like-
Friday, Saturday, 11 a.m. to 11:30 p.m. Sunday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m.
I'm sorry, so this is entertainment Monday through Sunday. So you talked about Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Oh, sorry, I'm reading that.
yeah, so it's Sunday through Thursday, 11 to 10, Friday, Saturday to 11:30.
Did you get that, Lorraine? Sorry.
Sunday to Thursday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Yeah.
Friday, Saturday,
11 a.m. to 11:30 p.m.
for the entertainment.
for entertainment.
Indoor, yep. Second by Ms. Canfield, further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? 4-0, so 3-1 on the first vote, 4-0 on the second. Can you tell Andrew to come back here?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for taking the time to come in.
Well, thank you very much for listening to us. I would appreciate that your complaints. They're not,
And
we're
for
not
the
gonna be
record, I really think he
complaining.
was coming at me, not you, so just, it's.
Okay, well, we
don't take
appreciate
it
you
that way,
taking the
yeah.
time to listen to us.
You're welcome, I was
And,
doing that anyway.
And, I hope you don't just think of complaining.
No,
Thank you.
have a good night.
Okay. Right, thank you.
Good night.
All right, the next topic is DEI committee appointment. Christina Gilberti. Maura, you wanna?
Sure, I mean, this is the first I heard of it, which is great, so I don't know Christina, but I do believe she's probably coming as a representative for the town because our town representative left and it's great to have her. She works at the library, has been there, I think, since 2017. So we need a town representative, we've had a couple turnovers just from leaving, you know, and things like that, so I think she'd be a great addition to the group.
I actually met her, now that rings a bell, she's very nice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good.
very good. Yeah.
She was dancing up a storm at the Christmas party.
That's right.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, okay, I think I know who you mean then. Okay, awesome.
Not Will.
So, would you like a motion?
Yeah, any questions, any?
Yeah, she's great.
Okay.
Move to appoint Christina Gilberti to the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee for a term of 2 years or until a successor is named and completion of the Conflict of Interest Law online training program is completed within 30 days.
Second?
Second by Mr. Goodrich, further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it's unanimous 5-0. Next is a discussion vote on one-day license. Can I have a motion for one-day, all-day license for the Laney's at 8 Allen Place for April 15th from 6 to 10 p.m. for a nonprofit event.
So,
Second by Ms. Conley. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye, it's unanimous 5-0. Are there any liaison reports?
you said that right,
Yes.
we this year.
I did have a meeting today with Karen Joseph, the town planner, and Patty Lambert, the chair of the planning board. And I expressed the fact that this board is extremely interested in what is going on, especially at the MBTA, that whole zoning issue. And we promised to keep in touch. They have nothing new to report to us now, but they're going forward, so.
Thank you for following up. We made that, I thought we made that very clear
Yes.
when they came before, so.
Well, I
That's-
wanted to reiterate it, because I'm a liaison to them, and I just wanted them to know that we care about what they do. We want to support them and know what's going on, so that we can be supportive.
That could have a huge impact on that area.
Oh, North Scituate too, so.
That's mine.
I Couple of things, Council on Aging has embarked on development of a strategic plan at the direction of our town administrator, and that will serve them now that they're in the new building and they know how it's working, is to look strategically in the future. It will also allow them to apply for accreditation from the state I forgot the organization that, it's like the library has a library association, it's their counterpart for an accreditation. That process, I believe is gonna be complete by the end of June, and they'll submit for accreditation, which is very cool. And it'll open up opportunities for grants and things as well for their strategic plan. EDC, I know we approved the untold license for Ship Shape Day. And Matt Elder came into EDC last night to talk about how they're going to be partnering with the Sustainability Committee to do, following Ship Shape Day. It's not just beer, it's also an opportunity to really engage on some of the sustainability efforts within the community. So that's cool. And the last thing is conservation is going to consider exploring a subcommittee that will help with strategic plans for our open space holdings in their care. That's my liaison.
Water resources, rain barrel sales. They're not quite on set, not on sale yet, but they will be soon, and pickup will be in May. But the coolest thing is they're gonna have the couplers this year, because if you already have one, you wanna get a second rain barrel connected to make one mega, that's not the one larger rain barrel, which actually two is actually perfect for most people, because then one fills up super fast, and then two, the connector, anyway, you'll be able to buy the connector as well this year, and what's that?
And a connector.
More?
Just quickly, the DPI committee is actually going back to the original charge with looking at all the different departments, and they will be coming forth with just their observations and recommendations, because they never really closed the loop on that. They went down some other lower hanging fruit, so I think we'll see a request from them in the upcoming months to come before us.
Awesome. Great, all right. And then we have a few correspondence.
Correspondence, we have a couple of
School committee, who's school committee?
That's for the way.
So what are we doing about the election of the open seat?
Yeah, so,
Working
yeah, I'm
on it?
working with Nicole, and
Okay.
she's got probably, I think she has a couple, maybe another week before they have to notify us.
I'll have to go back a lot. Did they notify us yet? No.
No.
I'll have to look at the timeline.
Yeah, but I know it was the beginning of April that
Okay.
they had.
Most
So
of the
then,
time.
whether they want to be involved in the process or not involved in the process.
Okay, thank you.
Would you like correspondence, Mr. Chair? So we have several letters of support for the Pier 44 project. We have one from Doug Smith, who's the chair of the chair of the Scituate Historical Commission. And they voted unanimously to support the proposal that will be coming forth before town meeting, which is very nice. We also have a letter from the EDC that reviewed the proposal for the Pier 44 Scituate Harbor Park in a funding of $300,000 from the CPC, which is the same as the Historical Commission, unanimously voted in support of that. So good for the Pier 44 committee to go out and get additional letters of support from those with which will be impacted. And then we have an update from the MBTA about updated schedules that are taking place this month, so just double check the new spring 2023 service schedules are released. I also think there's an addition of the East Boston ferry service will resume on the 27th, if anybody needs to get to East Boston. So take a look at that. And then we did talk earlier about the South Shore Recycling Cooperative initiatives that are taking place, but one is coming up on Saturday, April 8th and 9th in Plymouth, and Wednesday, May 24th, from 4 through 8 in Rockland, for folks to recycle 2 free tires So you can get rid of your old nasty tires at those places, so double check. Will Kevin post these on the DPW site, Jim? Just
We can.
I think he should, since it seems like they're becoming a little bit more and resolving some of our issues there. And I think that's it.
Any other announcements from anyone? All right, can I have a motion to accept the minutes for the select board meeting held March 7th and the public hearing of March 15th, 2023?
So moved.
Second by Mr. Goodrich, further discussion, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, unanimous. And lastly, can I have a motion to adjourn and sign documents?
So moved.
Second by Mr. Goodrich, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, great. Good night, everybody, thank